Ramela. Look at mid though.
Yeah, but Yagon has the hard guard right now. It's the go signal for the Philippines to go for it, but hell, Yagon picking up the kill. Gambling has the revitalized, no AOG just yet. Ramela gonna get the damage from the rest of the members here of the Philippines AOG, but it's way too. This is the first Lord, but yeah, still one wave of super minions, and
Here we
there's
go!
Alberto gonna soak up the damage, but it is just to take that turret down bot as Morris again planting those arrows, making it hard for the Clock of Destiny. Right now, they're just gonna go for it. B-Knock getting taken down there by the arrows. They just keep on going here for the side of the Philippines and able to stain everything at that. There's the Winter Crown play there for Yagon as Gambling doing her best, but AOG out from that one. Ramela left to defend, but Yagon's way in. There's the minion waves down bot. It's only Gambling left to defend. I don't think you can do it up against the full members.
But Philippines, wow, Alpuerto on the Eastern Shin this time. They're gonna lock in the Selena as well. The Abyssal Arrows coming through. But look at Segismar with this Herod. Stunned again onto the back. Cat Chaser is down. Ramela as well with 1 HP! Gets the basic attack here of the Herod. A double kill for Yagon. A Gambling X taken down. It's a wipeout as Philippines will...
Kyrgyzstan, they do have the damage, so they can just go for the full engage if they do that. But speaking of the full engage, there is the revitalized Soji Fly, able to sustain for a bit, but there's the setup from Hinata. AOG from the backside, able to catch. Is insane. Yasya and the rest of the gang are able to take them down. Now Rika QQ as well, getting them as an arrow. And the rest of the still a double kill here for Uzbekistan. 2 for the price of 2. There's gonna be more Rina. Triple for
Jump. And oh, here's Lalalia.
Oh, there is now or never, as they say in High School Musical. But that is going to be the setup. 2 members down, despite the fist crack. The flicker in here by Rina Lulu. The Bat's impact is starting to hurt. Double kill there for Scarlet. Now Iron with nowhere left to go. Ayaz punished a little bit too deep in. They're still not able to take it though. They're going to try to contest Hinata with the fist crack. It's still going to be the retribution coming in. The immortality is up here for Scarlet. But it is going to be a shutdown here for the side of Uzbekistan. And now it's a wipe. Taking Kyrgyzstan took it earlier, and now Lalalia gonna get punished there by the wall, the barrier, and the Bat's impact here from Yasya. And now the rest of the members here of Kyrgyzstan gonna try to go in. That's a crossover bang from Ayaz, but now the punish from the side of Uzbekistan. Soji Fly falls, double kill picked up for Iron, and now Ayaz as well getting caught between the glues. The Hinatas are gonna try to go in with the vengeance. They're able to sustain for a bit, but not for long with the Bat's impact. She gets taken down, and now here comes Iron for the backline damage. It is going to be Rika QQ surviving with the Thalassophobia. The barrier is up, but ultimately it's gonna be Space Loves Us that takes them down. Now it is said Kyrgyzstan gonna be on the defensive side, but they're gonna try to pull some. It's the shut by Ayaz. And now Soldier Fly trapped in the barrier here. Gonna try to sustain for a bit. That's gonna be the crossbow of tank again onto Space Loves of Uzbekistan. The barrier to slow things down, but will that be enough? The tectonic charge. We were waiting for that, but there's the Purify from Yasya. It's gonna take down Laliala. The rough waves onto the backside, but it's not gonna be enough. They do have the sustain, the AOG onto the backside. Ayorn taken down. Double kill for Scarlet. They're still surviving. A monster kill, a triple kill for Scarlet. And Soldier Fly with a 1v1, but it's a... It's the last day of the World Esports Iesf Asia and Oceania qualifiers with me, Kim, and Naisu back today for our grand finals, I would say, final day of the broadcast. So it's good to see you back here, Naisu. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just came down the mountain basically over here in the Philippines, and I'm back in the city. And I tried watching some of the matches,
Just
of
in
course, that
time.
you guys had here, like the past couple days. I was able to peek in a little bit, like here and there, Kim. But unfortunately, I haven't been able to catch every single game like I did for the men's when they were battling it out. But I have seen the stats going on here, and I can say, there were some surprises, but more or less, some of the top teams that are there on the top of their standings. That's what I expected.
Yeah, and I think this upcoming match, this first one that we have today, it's Malaysia versus Thailand. So for everybody who's watching, we're looking at two teams. Malaysia that is a bit more favored to win, of course, based on these are just solely based on the tournaments that they have in their region, in their respective countries. And then as for Thailand, actually, it's surprising because I've started my casting career casting Mekong region, which is the region where Thailand is, and a bunch of Mlbb women. So this is like my turf. And when I saw the ladies yesterday, they were just it's a very good improvement from what they had last time. And honestly, I wasn't expecting this kind of improvement this year, because every single year usually we'd see like the same names, the same faces, but for Thailand to come in this far, even pulling off something up against the Philippines, giving them a run for their money is actually huge win for them, for their region specifically.
Yeah, I remember. I think we even did some of those early day casts of yours, with the Mekong region and everything else. And that's one thing we can always say is like, when we get to go through these international tournaments like this for ISF, even, you kind of get to see the improvement for some of those familiar teams or nations, as we see the groups here for our women's teams. And you get to see that improvement. And sometimes like the players do switch in and out, and other teams have more of their like staple lineups, that we're so used to seeing. But like in this case, where some of these teams competing in some of these different groups, you get to see different names represent those countries. But you do get to see that play style kind of carry through. Again, just like we did with the men's, I think a lot of the focus here is really on Southeast Asia, and the teams haven't, I would say they put on a great show for us so far.
Yeah, Southeast Asia in particular, we've seen teams also from West Asia, Central Asia also come in, and they have a great knowledge of what the meta is, and they had a good run so far in our qualifiers. So I'm looking forward to see. Of course, we're down to our last four teams that will be playing today. So you got Malaysia, Thailand, the Philippines, and of course Myanmar that will be playing later on. So you guys have to catch that. Malaysia versus Thailand first. So you guys will be seeing that in just a bit. And for the second match that we're going to be streaming, it is of course the winner of match 1 and then the winner of match 2, which we'll find out later on.
Yeah, so we'll find out. Again, there's one of the matches happening off cam for you guys, off stream for you guys. And so Malaysia versus Thailand is where we want to go ahead and focus. And like Kim mentioned, Thailand has been doing pretty well. They had some tough games ahead of them, but they've been able to pull through for the most part. Of course, they did struggle against the Philippines. They got swept by them, but still, I think this is the first match that we have here, Kim, is going to be, I would like to think we'd have 3 games, but then again, Malaysia, if I recall, is undefeated. Like they haven't dropped one game. If I'm thinking correctly here, like they're 4-0 in matches and they're 8-0 in their games. So this could be a difficult one for Thailand, but I don't know. I think it's kind of up in the air in terms of how they draft, of course, how they're able to execute it. Yeah. Have you seen much of a change since you covered men's, like the men's matches quite a bit? What's the biggest difference here for the women's matches?
Yeah, I think I was about to bring that up. It's not that far from what we've seen in the men's. It's just that there's a specific draft that the ladies are more comfortable with. I see a majority of them either drafting around a utility jungler, or maybe even there was a also a heavy pry on the Gatot Kacha for the past few days. I think for this particular matchup, that I have to highlight Fafao here, the gold laner of Malaysia, who has used a Moskov, got a comeback win up against. I believe that was the match up against Cambodia. So I think that's something that for Thailand, either they should pick or at least prio the Moskov on their side, force Fafao to pick up something else this time, because it seems like for the last 2 days it was just the no, not really, not a lot of Moscows, but a lot of the Irritels and the Grangers. So it's mostly just those two marksmen in the gold lane.
Then that seems to be the case for, like, really, if you think about the gold lane in general, it's a whole lot of Moskov, Granger, Harith still. Then you throw in, the Irithels, maybe the Brunos, maybe something else. I don't know if the women's teams like to go the route so much of if they get the YSS, then they pick like a fighter in the gold lane. Have you seen much of that, or
not so much? Actually,
right?
I think it's more of the men's that did that,
Yeah.
especially in the first day, right? We've seen the Lapu Lapu in the gold, the Ruby in the gold, but not so much here. We did see a Ruby in the roam position as well as the Jawhead, so those were probably the most, I would say, once or twice picked by the teams, but the rest is pretty much meta. I haven't seen the Yi Sun Shin because it has been perma-banned.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I've seen more Wan-Wans than the Yi Sun Shin in the past few days. So I think coming into this, the teams definitely have a whole lot more ideas of like what these teams will put out or what they will field out in their composition. So I think for Malaysia, they know how to work around like the late game, especially. Like I was talking about Fafao and the Moscow. So hopefully this time for Thailand, they love to go for heavy sustain also. So if they can manage to pull off that heavy sustain in the early, make sure they end it as fast as they can before the gold laner farms up for the side of Malaysia. I think they can stretch this out to like maybe a 3-game series. I can feel it.
You think they can challenge Malaysia? Because like looking at Malaysia here in a lot of their games, as we get ready to look at this matchup specifically with Malaysia and Thailand, like we've been talking about, is Malaysia has had some very quick games throughout this. I know some of them also happened off stream for them, but some of the information that we have here, like they've even had an 11-minute game. I'm not sure what is the record game time right now for the women's MLBB.
Wow, I think like 8.
Oh, there was an
Am I
8-minute.
right?
There was an 8-minute
8,
game.
7
Okay.
to 8, something like that. Yeah, 8 minutes. But that was like very early into this competition. But you know what? Malaysia, they're gonna be playing with Syndicates, Rina, Fafao, Hani, and Shah. So Fafao, she was one of the players I remember very well because of her debut back in MWI, the very first one that I got to cast, and it was actually the very first official tournament that made me feel like, oh yeah, I'm getting to cast all of these tournaments now. So yeah, she really did improve a lot. And looking at who they're going to be going up against, this is Thailand. Hiru, Gam, Pang, Fan, and Pond that will be playing here for Thailand. Majority of their matches, apart from yesterday, were mostly off stream. So we've only seen just the match yesterday up against the Philippines, wherein, they lost 2-0. The Philippines took it with a sweep. So let's see this time if they can bounce back from that and maybe pull off a 3-game series.
Yeah, I think whenever you look at that, again, you have to consider, like, Thailand went up against Philippines, which is, one of the teams. Philippines is always going to be one of the teams that teams are looking to beat or, like, approach in a way. Again, if we look at the men's, like, it was surprising, like, what happened with the Philippines there. But here, specifically, I think generally they're doing pretty good. So it's like if Thailand had that sweep against them yesterday, it was good. It could be a good learning experience for them. Yes, they got swept, but again, they go up against one of the, let's say, just favorable teams to go ahead and win it all, because that's typically where you would place Philippines as one of those countries that just does that. And Thailand, hopefully they were able to go ahead and learn something for that to go into this matchup here today, which honestly, by the looks of it, it might be a little more difficult than their match against the Philippines.
Yeah, I think for Malaysia, again, they have a very good idea. They can go head to head with the top teams. in women's MLBB. But looking at Thailand, I think based on the draft yesterday up against the Philippines, they have a very good idea of what they can pull off. It's just that again, they fell short. Philippines brought out, different things yesterday. I think it was quite a surprise to me and Leo that they brought out it was a Uranus, and then like they last picked an Alice and an Angela. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's go for the standard. It's an Alice in the jungle and Uranus in the XP. But then when we came into the game, we are like, boy, no, we were wrong. It was a Uranus in the jungle and an Alice in the XP, and it really, really worked out well for them, especially with the playstyle of Diagon. So maybe we'll see more of that later on for the Philippines if ever they do pull it off until the last match that we'll be having today. But for Malaysia and Thailand, I think they're at par in terms of the skills.
Yeah.
Thailand just needs to probably put out something different because so far, but from what we've seen, it's mostly on the sustain, mostly on the utility. Maybe they want to go for the fast-paced game as well. Maybe go for assassins this time.
So that seems to be the challenge, huh? So a lot of the teams have been opting for utility in the jungle, where it's like, again, we're in this meta. We talked about this quite a bit, even before for the men's matches, but this is just a general discussion right now of the current esports or the esports environment for MLBB, and you're in this position where, like, meta-wise, you can play either. Like, you can play the assassins, you can play utility if you want to. But you have to build the lineup around that. Like, that's the main thing, is how are you ensuring this lineup? Because we've seen utility junglers too get picked up, and it's still the same thing where it's like, okay, well, we can at least like secure objectives, fight around them if we have to, play a little bit of a slower game, or have these like tankier heroes to deal with securing objectives. But if the lineup doesn't allow that, or you in a sense you fall behind way too fast, which we do technically see, like for example the Fredrins or any of the other utilities that are going to be picked up, that can be a problem. Because for some reason right now with the current meta, even though both styles are, they're viable, the assassin meta, or the assassin jungler specifically, and that quick play style is more rewarding right now, whereas you can get a snowball going faster to end the game faster. That's why a lot of the games we do see are, rather quicker in a way. Like, you see a lot of games that are sub 15, for example, which are usually 10, started up, right? Or 10, sometimes 10 minutes, 10 and a half, sometimes that
I
first
think that's
lore
my
push.
marker for like I would say short games, like anything that's 10 minutes and below, that's quite a very fast game for me. And most of the time, it is rotating around the assassins, although I feel like, the last adjustment, people were saying, the tanks are going to be back, the utilities are going to be back. They are back, but I mean, the assassins are still pretty much a thing. It's so good for securing objectives. Maybe that's probably the reason why the team scales up so well if the assassin gets the snowball. But I feel like for the teams, apart from all of that, I've only seen the matchup between UAE and Iran wherein they picked up supports. So with the utility jungler coming back, I don't really see a lot of supports for the teams, especially for these teams that will be playing. So it's mostly on the setter tanks, hard tanks that are feel it out. Do you think, like, I mean, you play a lot of roam, or what do you feel, how do you feel about that? Like, do you want to see more of the supports, or do you feel like it's because the setters really
is better,
set up the tempo? They set up the tempo, especially in, like, it's all out brawl most of the time that we see.
I think this, like, supports in terms of like the Angelas, the Florins, the Rafaelas, like, these are more like the Enchantress supports that we like go ahead and refer them to. I think they're fine. I think they fit. Like, again, there's a certain play style that certain compositions lean in. Like, for example, like we were talking about the whole Angela, Uranus, and the Alice, right? Those can all work, and like, you can build up around it. I like that they work, but I prefer, like, if I have to answer this from my own standpoint as a roam player, like, I prefer the setup roams. I prefer, like, those,
Badang.
the Badang, the Cho, the, even the Kufra to an extent, and, like, the setup potential roams are, I guess they're they're so good in the current meta because you can start the fights. And as we have been talking about, like that, you know, we're around this like kind of brawly meta and this setup and these early skirmishes and the team fights, and we focus so much too on like trio mid, like the whole saying of like the trio mid setup between the mid, jungle, and roam. Like, it's much better if you have a roam that can start those fights up early for your mid and your jungle so that they don't have to be the ones, right? And that's why it changes a little bit when you pick them on a utility jungle, because technically your utility jungler can potentially start fights up, you know, for example, like the Fredrin or something. But still, I think for me personally, I like seeing those tankier supports, those setup potential supports.
High loss.
I prefer not to play the enchantresses.
Yeah, high loss, Badang. What else have we seen? I think the Badang really stuck with me because there's a whole lot of teams that really prefer that roam, even the Gatot Gacha as well. So like what you said, it's mostly on the setups. I think team fights, like I was expecting usually like maybe they'd play more defensively, but so far from what I've seen here in the women's division, it's really a whole lot of setup plays from the roamers. So rarely do I see a supporter, like once or twice only in that particular match from UAE and Iran, and the rest are just mostly almost all the time the same suspects. And yeah, I think so far I haven't seen anything just yet. Like looking at Thailand and Malaysia, almost immediately they go ahead straight for the Baksha. Yeah, like what we said, one of the favored utility junglers, the Zushin, that is almost perma banned also yesterday. One was let loose, but Gatot Kacha, one of the setters also that really gave a hard time to the Philippines. It actually brought them to a match point in day number 2. So let's see. Kalea is also something that the teams opt for here. They also prio pick it, so we don't really see a lot of Arlots just yet, or Uranus being first picked, depending on the team. So CC is still open here for Malaysia if Thailand does not ban it away, as well as the Yisun Shin.
I think they take the YSS. Like, Thailand has to ban out the YSS here. If they don't, Malaysia might have I would say a pretty early start advantage if they get the YSS. So I think that's probably what Thailand's thinking about here. If they don't, like you said, okay, they don't. So they're gonna go for that trade. Malaysia picks up the YSS. Maybe Thailand's like, all right, we'll trade it for the CC. Oh no, Malaysia's gonna take the CC. So
yeah,
they're willing to trade it.
Yeah, the queen of the XP so far pokes. I think in terms of securing the objective, like the turtle, the CC is just so good. Thailand answers with the Uranus. This is something we've seen from them. Actually, I was expecting them to ban the Yisun Shin or the CC because I know that Binok has used this quite well in the match yesterday. Had a very great early, but now they're drafting a bit differently, going for sustain, high ground mage. I think for Malaysia, they can pick up their mid laner right now to go head-to-head with the Farsa, because for the next 2 bans, they can either take away the Eve that had such a good run here in Iesf.
Oh, so Eve has done pretty good.
A maniac, yeah. A maniac. Yeah.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for the Eve to do some work, because I know she got that little bit of a buff, but you know, some teams were still kind of second guessing if they should choose her. But that's really funny that we see YSS picked up here in like 3rd pick blue side with a Hylos.
Yeah, I think it's because they're also waiting for like the first 2 picks of Thailand, so they just gotta make sure. But once the CC is open, I feel like majority of the teams pick it up. It's good for the early, especially in the EXP lane where you want to get that level 4 first before the turtle take. For Thailand, again, they draft around the sustain without the Gatot Kacha here and the Baksha. Are they gonna go for Fredrin? I mean, from the first 2 picks here of Thailand, it seems like they're setting up for an assassin type of role. You got front to back right now, so I'm not so sure if they're gonna go for that or go for the Fredrin. Oh no!
Was not expecting that. So they'll take the Irithil on 3rd pick, red side. So they leave open the roam option and the jungle, unless for some reason Thailand does the weird, swerve and puts Uranus in the jungle. Like, I don't see them doing that, but if that's going to be the case, I'm not sure.
the Philippines pulled it off yesterday up against them, and they won. But
well, that's
look
what I
at
mean.
this
Like,
right now.
you gotta pull. You gotta do something pretty specific to be able to pull off the Uranus jungle.
Yeah. Second banning phase. Yeah, probably like mid lane ban should come through here for Thailand. I'm looking at. Yeah, I'd still say the Eve, the Selena also that has been picked up. Has a very good win rate, I'd say, here specifically in the playoffs. For Malaysia, jungle options, they're taking away the export. Yeah, the next best option apart from the assassins. And Thailand still continuing the mid lane bans. Very specific. We don't really see the Lunox that often though here in Iesf, but yep, I think they're just eliminating all the possibilities here because the Lunox can also be utilized in the gold lane.
Okay, I was wondering what the last ban would be for the mid. It goes to the Selena. Malaysia might even just pick up a Kagura, honestly, for that little extra burst damage. And Kagura's been doing pretty good. But you are up against the Farsa, so this could also just be the classic E-Farsa matchup that we see for here. So Angela being the last one for that roam, which is a good choice because it works really well with the Irithel and the Uranus there to go ahead and help them. So now for Thailand, they want to go ahead and pick up possibly the jungle, or they wait and pick up an XP lane right now. And that could be, what could they deal with here? Maybe a Phoveus? Like Phoveus is open.
Pick up the Phoveus first and then leave Malaysia to...
Yeah.
You know, the Moscow is still open. I was highlighting that. Fafao had such good games with the Moscow. I was actually expecting Thailand to either steal that pick away, you know, deny it from Fafao. But yeah, they go for the Irithel, one of the marksmen that are, I see, highly prioritized by the teams here. But, oh, like what I said, they were gearing up for that assassin. You get the feathered airstrike, and then the Joy here can just go for the cleanup work. They also got a Uranus to soak up the damage. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for another hard tank in the for their roam here. They still have the Badang. They do need that extra setup since the Uranus is more of like fronting for the team. So maybe I'm expecting a Badang, not unless no, Malaysia can't pick up the Badang since they already have the XP in their roam.
Yeah, so there goes my hope for Uranus jungle, but you know, that's fine. For me, he's better in the XP lane anyway. So Joy is going to be there.
Unless it's a Joy XP.
Unless it's a Joy XP. Unless it's like now at this point, you can't deny the possibility of swerves and curveballs. So there is the Bruno and then the Kadita, which is a great answer to the Farsa, I feel like, as well. So interesting. Okay, I like this lineup for Malaysia. I think it has a ton of burst damage. And also a good amount of crowd control. It's almost like, in a way, it's like easy damage too, just because, again, it's a Bruno, which is mostly, once he scales up 2 items and everything else, you just kind of lock on, do that, and then we know how good the YSS and the Kadita combination can be too. Even CC to an extent. Like, CC's weird because she does so much damage, and sometimes, you know, you're surprised at just trying to go 1v1, 1v2, and you might lose that. So Thailand's going to be a little choosy here. Okay, they are going to go the Grok. You mentioned it that they needed. Yeah, you mentioned that they needed something tankier. You know, some durability to the lineup, and this, I would say, Kim, this does it. You know, you pick up a Grok.
We've seen a Grok being picked up in the group stages, wherein some of the teams are really. Like what I realized would say, super happy with the tectonic charge. I mean, that's exactly what you need to do. It's the intimidation coming out from this hero. I think for Thailand overall, with the Grok pick, there's a whole lot more setups, whole lot more ways to engage first. As compared to Malaysia, there's 2 marksmen plus the Kadira. So much burst, especially if they do get the early. Then you did say that about the Yisun Shin, right? So if it does have a good game, I think it could just go from there, right? And then the Joy can't farm. Malaysia just takes everything in. But for Thailand, again, the scaling as well for the Irithel is really good. But they do have a Bruno, though, also for the side of Malaysia. I think it's very balanced out for the side of Malaysia. They just have to kind of win this early up against the Joy.
Yep. We're going to find out, though. It's a best of 3 here between these 2 teams, Malaysia and Thailand, to go ahead and move on forward to our next matchup later today. So we'll find out if it's going to be Malaysia, who's been dominating their group, or will Thailand bring it to the distance and possibly upset one of the favorites right now in the tournament here.
Oh wow, Cat Chaser already down real low. I mean, that's really what you'd expect coming out from a CC. You could just, yeah. I was asking my friend yesterday. I was like, he uses a lot of CC, and he's like, yeah, just the basic attacks are enough to actually dish that much damage, even up against a Uranus. She's also rocking that Festival of Blood, so additional, life steal, and even Cat Chaser here. Once she's taken down low, she still has to revitalize. But then again, the XP lane super important for to win, especially if you want to get this first objective.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because this doesn't because Cat Chaser went with a revitalize. You don't have that many options either to escape. Now, like, you could tank up quite a bit as Uranus, but you have your Concentrate. But look at this. This is what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I was just saying. So Cat Chaser going down. That's first blood already. Thailand on the response, but you're not going to be able to do too much, though. So, yeah, unfortunate first blood going in the hands of Malaysia here.
Yep. Good start, too. It went to Rina. You can go straight for the turtle as well as, Cat Chaser yesterday did have a great start with her Yuzong, but this time Malaysia knows how to play it well. Look at how Yuki is zoning everybody out from the turtle pit, and even the Kadira of Hani goes all the way in for the rough waves. That's going to be Rina picking up the first turtle, even the purple here for the side of Thailand.
Yeah, they're going to take everything. I mean, there's the purple taken. You saw how much damage Shah was able to do to this Grok here, Gambling X, and it's just, that's not what you want to deal with. You fall behind pretty quickly with this kind of lineup that Thailand is facing. So this might be one of those games where it's either we hope that we can utilize this Joy, this kind of magic-based damage that we're going to have early on between the Joy and the Farsa, and then it transitions, to having that Irithel later. But this might be one of those quick games if they don't keep things under control. Now, I know there's not a huge gap there, but look at this. The setup again. Rena's going to go ahead in. Down Shocker 4. The Revitalize is going to be popped. There's a little bit of stun. Uranus is still tanking everything up as much as possible, so not able to get the kill. But now top. Oh no. They're going to jump in. Foul. Should be fine. Oh, going to get the stun. Couldn't. No kill up top, though. And there's 4 members of Thailand up there.
Yeah, a little bit too late. That's the beauty of having a glorious pathway. You can kind of dash all the way out from the team fight. But wait, hold on. There's going to be more. Oh, a little bit too... not enough damage yet, and the Feathered Airstrike will clap back against Hani. Quite unfortunate. That was a... I think, was that a flicker? Oh, no, it wasn't a flicker out. It was just not enough damage for Hani just yet. But fortunately, I think what's good is Malaysia has gotten this XP lane contained. I mean, that's a Uranus after all, right? Yeah. You wouldn't want it to keep that CC in the lane. If you have a CC, you kind of want it to join these team fights pretty early, especially since the turtle is going to be up on this side, as the rest of the members of Malaysia already positioning themselves here. Rina is also, earlier, she was 2 levels ahead up against Binoc. So let's see. Turtle is up for the taking here for the side of Malaysia. As the rest of the teams, I'm not so sure what they want to happen here. We're waiting for Gambling, though, to set up the place, but how can she? It's just the barriers that she can do for now.
Yeah, she lays that down. The rampart's there. Glorious Pathway is already used, too. She's going to have to get in the zone here. Rina will go ahead and continue on the turtle, while Thailand fighting for space. The Joy jumping on forward. They get shot really low. She's got to get out. Pops the Vengeance. There's the Feathered Airstrike. Hani goes in with the rough waves. Will pop the flicker from Ramilla. Now the fight's still breaking out in the mid lane. Yuki's in trouble. A double kill for Hells. She's got it under control, and now Thailand fought for this turtle. They might be able to secure it, but Rina goes in with a Retribution to secure the second turtle of the game.
I think that's the best outcome that Thailand could get from that, right? They go in, bait out the shot to go in a bit deep, and then, you can get a bit overconfident if you do have the CC, you get the lifesteal plus the Vengeance, but then with the Uranus of Cat Chaser in the picture, it made it so much hard. But I think what was good there is Malaysia kept on pushing. They got in that turtle, so that's going to be at least still the gold swing XP towards their team. But as you can see now, after those 2 pickoffs from Thailand, the gold just equalized right now up against Malaysia.
Thailand's doing a great job at controlling that early start that Malaysia was off to. They pretty much stopped that in the tracks. They are getting in position where they're actually able to contest the objectives. It's just they got to win the retribution battles too. I know these are the only turtles right now, but eventually these are going to be lords, and Thailand's going to want to make sure that you can lock in those objectives. They have the great, front and back lineup that they need, but also eventually the scaling here for Malaysia's lineup is going to benefit them with this Bruno and, still having the Kadita burst available to them. So that's the main thing. But right now, Thailand doing a great job. It's pretty much an even game here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think what's really surprising too here for Thailand is Gambling has to kind of think it through if she wants to go for the tectonic charge. Like, she has specific targets here for the side of Malaysia, but I think what's making it really hard too is Yuki, who has been doing that 3-0 mid type of roaming against
Yuki.
the side of Thailand. But that's going to be revitalized used. Sha is up here as well, 5 seconds before the last turtle is up. I think this is important, but what's important is Rina has gotten all of the items better there.
Rina! Oh man, she got her so low. Hells jumps on in with a heavy crossbow. She'll get the kill under the turret. Hani, one hit away. Here comes Cat. Cat Chaser will catch Hani. Gonna catch the cat, actually just catches Hani. So now they'll take this turtle. Thailand has done a great job fighting for the objective. They catch out a couple from Malaysia. And meanwhile, in the bottom, it looks like the gold laners are battling it out. Fao trying to get space. Down here gets Hells. Hells jumps in. Glorious Pathway is gonna be there too. Unfortunate timing, but Fao will be fine. Picking up a kill for herself.
Yep, but the shutdown gold as well going to Fafao. That should be good. She's actually also taking her time. And she says she's rocking this Bruno like a Moscow, pretty much like a Moscow. We haven't seen so much of her yet, and I think she's just waiting for the right time. Later on, we'll see the items that she's picked up. But that's a 1v1 and a shutdown up against Hells on the Earthel at that. Like, the Earthel has so much more mobility up against the Bruno though.
Yeah, there's a thing where it's like Bruno, he has reliable damage in the sense of, you need a couple items, you're able to go ahead and land down some big crits and everything, even on some of the tankier heroes here. But Earthel's advantage is she also has that damage, but then she has like crazy mobility, especially when she pops the heavy crossbow and then when she pops the sprint as well. So, there's an instance where Earthel's damage is just really good. The mobility is great, but Bruno, especially with having a flicker and then the spacing that a Bruno can work with, because you have a Hylos and you have even a CC usually jumping on into the back, is the difference here that will be seen in the lineup, especially when we get towards the later game. So Thailand has to be able to respond to that. And Gambling X is one of those. Oh, Fao. Gambling X is going to be one of those members to control that. But you can see the focus in the mid lane here. Meanwhile, up top, too, Sha. Feathered Airstrike to drop down a couple shots just so they can get the tier 1 turret. But they're going to meet here on this side of the river. I'm not sure if this is going to turn into a fight. Glorious Pathway dropped down. The Tectonic Slam, too. Now Yuki in trouble. She's deleted. And now Hani looking for the setup from Mela, though. She can't catch her. She has to jump on out. So Malaysia losing one.
Yeah, but I love how they just kind of back away, knowing who's once Yuki was down. Malaysia knows that we kind of have to back away a bit, knowing that their front line is not there just yet. But for Sha, though, it's a good way to kind of make Thailand disengage from that team fight. And speaking of Sha, she is the one that's dealt the most damage. Like, even the curtain call also is enough to contain. I'm not so sure if she will.
Oh! What a mountain shocker. The stun comes through. The retribution from Malaysia. A great setup. I mean, Thailand was blitzing the Lord Kim. They wanted it, and they just didn't make it happen because, again, your Joy just gets deleted, and now Fao's in trouble. Again, this rampart, this wall from Gambling X is so good. Those are rough waves, able to find two, though. Hani getting a double, getting the great setup in the mid lane, and now they're going to try to focus down this tier 1 turret. Malaysia has made multiple moves across the map for this first Lord push.
That's exactly what they need to do, right? Like make sure that they have to make these plays. Like you wouldn't know, right? Like for gambling right now, it's not about the tectonic charge anymore. It's just getting in that barrier and probably hopes you get one or two um, members here from the side of Malaysia. But I think for now, Thailand just has to defend up against this one. Second tier should be out at least with this first Lord take. That was such a good move coming out from Hani. I actually thought that they might be backing away from that one, but the rough waves just kind of equalized that team fight after that pick-up on Fafao.
Oof. Feathered airstrike dropped down. Shah just yo-yo blitzing multiple members from Thailand down. Lords at half health. They did lose that tier 2 turret. It's going to get the charge in here in the base turret, and there, again, Hani looking for something, but there's still the holy shields up. So she'll have to pop the rough waves to go ahead and disengage. But that's great right now for Thailand. Oh, never mind. The joy is gone. I thought they were going to be able to hold on at least to the tier 2 turret there, but they lose it in the mid as well.
Yeah, I think for Binok here, you can see how she's starved for the entire game. Well, not completely just yet. Like, there's only 2 deaths. And at the same time, like the most that she's doing right now is just to clear out the side lanes. Like we don't see that full engage that you get when you have the joy. Like you can just like considering this lineup of Malaysia, you got at least like 3 squishy heroes. So 1 electrifying beats can kind of burst these heroes down. But we don't see much of that. Like we just see Binok going in for the safer route. Maybe making the side lanes push macro game is the way to go here for Thailand. Maybe make those side lanes push. But for now, after that first Lord take, those second tiers all out for the side of Thailand. I feel like with this being said, are they going to go for more engage here for the side of Thailand? Or maybe perhaps just go for like 1 pickups? But how can you, right? Like Fafao or even Hani, most of the time you see Yuki is right there. As you can see, like most of the members here at Thailand, they're just expending all of their ultimates just to take down 1 member, and right when you're about to get like either Fafao or Hani, all your ultimates are already out. It's been taken. Yuki's taken all of it.
Yeah, and for Thailand at this point, it's really just not getting caught by the rough waves is a big one, because they have the setup potential, and we've seen it from Gambling X multiple times. So. They can play around that into this next Lord, because I think that's what both teams are going to want to go ahead and fight around. But they spawn Cat Chaser out. Fao too, but
just
again, yeah, you basically just have to wait for this. It's going to be started up on the Lord here. Rena's all by herself. I mean, look at the zoning too. I'm not sure if they're going to rotate down here fast enough. Thailand kind of has an idea what's going on. Rena does pick up a Malefic Roar, so... Yep. She might be able to do a little more damage. Cat Chaser, she goes down. She gets caught in the mid lane. So now still going for it. Gambling X taking a couple shots. They're in trouble still in the mid. They only lost Cat Chaser, but they're going to lose the objective off of that. I'm not sure what Thailand's idea was. They were rotating down, then they got caught in the mid lane.
Yeah, I feel like at that point, Cat Chaser was trying to bait the members here of Malaysia, right? Like to go all the way in, and maybe perhaps the Gambling can go for that opening, get that tectonic charge, or maybe block them in with the barrier. But you know what? It's all about the pokes here coming out from the Bruno of Fafao. As you can see, like she's just almost all the time with Yuki, as Thailand also forced to just respond with taking at least the top tier turret here for their side, as Malaysia once again picking up this Lord. And as you can see, two glass cannon heroes for the side of Malaysia. You got the Yusunshin, you got the Bruno here to deal with. So I feel like there has to be a whole lot more engage here from Gambling X. She did put up those barriers, but she has to. She's the only one who can pretty much set up the play, apart from the feathered airstrike here from the Farsa.
Yeah, so this is going to be a test here for Thailand. They have good clear, especially with the Farsa and the Irithil. So they should be able to hold on into this game. They're going to lose this base turret at least, though. The Lord charge is already in. Rest of Malaysia is up here. Oh, no, Cat Chaser again. She does get away, though. Glorious Pathway going to be dropped down. And right now, Malaysia looking for more. Gambling X up on the front. Hell's just shooting off from that backside. They don't have the waves all synced up that they're looking for, though. And now Yuki. Oh, there's the rough waves again, finding the mark on Hell's, and Cat Chaser, and Gambling goes down too. And now Thailand's in trouble. It happened so quickly. Malaysia will take game 1.
Wow. They were trying to pull off probably a flank on the back, but unfortunately, yeah, it all worked out well there for Malaysia. The rough waves, quite underrated in this game. Like, we usually just see Hani picking up 2 kills, and then eventually, she kept on doing that petrify rough waves combo, just instantly deletes the damage dealers. And by the time that Gambling did set up some plays, the main damage dealers weren't there. Malaysia, again, we did mention it earlier, ton of burst damage, and we're able to carry it through this entire game, and they're going to be already picking up the match point for the next game as we take a look at the highlights here on what went down in this first game.
Yeah, again, Thailand did a good job at kind of getting themselves back into this game. It was a rough early game start, but they actually held on pretty well because of the fact that, they had a pretty tanky lineup, able to go ahead and set things up. But even when they withstanded some of the burst that was coming from Malaysia, I got to give it up to Hani. Like, she was able to find the right targets at the right moments. Even that last base push, she was able to find Hells. And as long as you found the Airthel, who was the main source of the damage, especially when the Feathered Airstrike was done from Ramela, like, that solves your entire team fighting problem. You know what I mean? So the Kadita was a fantastic choice in the draft for something that was going to be valuable throughout the game, just like we see here in the highlights. There was a lot of moments where Hani was able to get like 2 members just stacked on each other. And obviously when there's a Kadita across from you, you don't want to be stacking on each other. You don't want to be caught close to each other.
Yeah.
So that was one of the difficult things for Thailand. Yeah, you gotta distance yourself here like this again.
Like that. So that was an almost 3-man catch on Ramela. Yeah, it was just so cleanly executed there by Malaysia in that last and final push. And I was actually thinking that it might actually be Shah that will set up the play with the curtain call, but no, it was actually Hani here with the Kadita all throughout this game. They did have, I would say, if you think about the wave clear, the early, the fast rotation, you got to give it to the Farsa that has more range. But this is exactly what the Kadita needs to do, right? Like, just go for those pickoffs. And definitely, by the time she picked up like at least the 3rd or 4th item, she was able to burst down. Even I think to a certain point, Cat Chaser or Gambling, she's able to take them down real low.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of surprising too how the Uranus, like for Cat Chaser, it seemed to be tanky in a way, but then there was moments where you just got caught, in like the mid lane, for example, and then she died rather quickly. I just don't think she had enough time to itemize the way she needed to, because when you're going for that defensive build on the Uranus, for example, or even Gambling X, it's like you have to build against the magic burst that's coming through, but also the physical burst, because that's what I was saying with the lineup timing. Eventually the Bruno and the YSS, like the Bruno alone scales up really quickly, and his damage is going to hurt, especially when the Malefic Roar is picked up. Rina picked up her Malefic Roar eventually, so the YSS was able to even go through those healthy, armor defense of like a Grok even. So it was just a matter of time where really the scaling tipped towards Malaysia, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, double marksman. I think it was almost all the time Yuki with Fafa. Overall, a good game there for the side of Malaysia. We're going to be heading to a match point for our next match, but don't you guys go away. We'll be back with more Mlbb action here with Naisu and Kim at the World Esports Iesf Asia and Oceania Qualifiers. We'll be right back. And we're back with the World Esports Iesf Asia and Oceania Qualifiers. My name is Kim. With me is Naisu. We're here. Match point between Thailand and Malaysia that got the first game. Some quick off-stream updates, by the way. We got Philippines versus Cambodia, wherein Cambodia actually won the first game. And then we got Bangladesh versus Sri Lanka, where Bangladesh won game number 1. So this means that apart from Malaysia, you got Cambodia and Bangladesh already on a match point. Yeah, I would have to say it's an exciting last day here in Iesf, and I can't wait to see who will be able to make it for our final match later on. But for now, we got to talk about Thailand and Malaysia. That first game was I would say there wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but mostly about like the good scaling that Malaysia has overall. There were some clapbacks from Thailand some parts of the game, but then again, I think what really sealed the deal for that particular game for them to win it was the engages from the rough waves of Hani. Considering that they had the Grok, they had the Uranus, so the way that she was able to do these pickoffs are just it's just really amazing to see that.
Yeah, I think that's why I was saying for me the Kadita at the end of the draft there in game 1 was such a good pick, just because it answered a lot of the pressure that was picked up in the first phase of the draft from Thailand. A big part of that being the Farsa, because obviously every time the Farsa is going to set up a feathered airstrike, like you're just there, you know, and that you're like the perfect target for a Kadita, because you'll either die from the rough waves, or you'll be forced to end your feathered airstrike early. So that is already value just by showing up as the Kadita, you know. So I think that was a really good final draft that was picked up from Malaysia towards the end there. Now I think it'll even make Thailand kind of consider, darn, should we not pick up the Farsa? And then it slips through, and then Malaysia ends up getting it. So now that we have a swap of sides here, we could see a little bit of a change in terms of priority. We have to go ahead and always look at first of what will be open in the jungle. Like we saw last previous one, was the Lancelot was banned out. I'm not sure if Thailand wants to go ahead and prioritize that. They do take out a Baksha here, so. And like you mentioned, Kim, they've been opting more so for the utility, but if there is a sense, you know, if the YSS happens to be open, you could go for that. And we'll see if Thailand really wants to go that route, because right now, like they do take the Lancelot out. There's a CC.
Yeah, the CC.
So we could be seeing that trade, you know, the trade for the YSS right now.
I think this should be Thailand just banning whatever they feel like give up, you know, any pretty much anything, because they do have the first pick, and force Malaysia to just ban out that YSS, because they're on the blue side, they got the pick. So I feel like maybe maybe limit either Fafao's heroes, Fafao, or maybe even Rena's heroes. So it's really a matter of who do you target here. But so far it's mostly like the assassin or the jungler bans here that are coming through for Thailand. So this should signal Malaysia to either ban away the Yisun Shin. But the Yisun Shin did come in like the second part of the first draft. So
which was
it didn't
weird,
really
right?
pop off immediately. Yeah. We don't really see that happen often. Especially in the male division, I believe it's like almost repeat like Yisun Shin first pick, if not the Lancelot.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're still going to go with that idea here. Malaysia probably still considering if they should even ban out the YSS or just let it slip through, because again, always that trade is if you do get the YSS on that first pick blue side, you still have a ton of great options for first phase on the first choice on the red. So they take out the Hayabusa. Interesting. Interesting that they go that route. So I think this is almost in a sense too this Thailand pick with the YSS. Malaysia will most likely swap if they do get it. Maybe they'll pick up the Farsa +1 for XP. But I think they're comfortable with dealing with the YSS from Thailand if they grab it.
Yeah, I think for Malaysia, they already have the answer here. Like if they pick up the YSS, they can pick up the Gatot Kacha, by the way, that was banned away in the first game. So Thailand's still going to be drafting around this Uranus that they've prioritized even when they were on the red side. So Malaysia can now either pick up the Gatot Kacha,
I would say Badang, Gatot Kacha. Oh wow, okay, yeah, this is good. This is good for Malaysia because they already pick out the one that will give the Forza a hard time, right? The Gatot Kacha, the AOGs were almost always on point by a lot of the players here, especially in the women's division. It's a great answer to the Farsa. So picking up the Gatot Kacha and the Farsa, W for the side of Malaysia. But for Thailand, they can, it seems like the Iritel has been a repeat pick. So I'm not so sure if they're going to go for that same lineup. So since they have the Uranus here, maybe pick up their jungler, since it might be a contest for the junglers by the time it reaches the second phase of the draft, since a lot of these options are already out. Yisun Shin still open, by the way, so I feel like they're just thinking of the possible combo to go with that. So yeah, it's still the Iritel. And no, we haven't seen this for a long time. I don't know, like the Zetian, it did show up a lot on the major tournaments lately, and I guess it
kind of fell off though.
Yeah, fell off. There's vision though. Like I was thinking, you know what would be really good with the lineup of Thailand? The Zetian and the Yisun Shin. That's like a ton of vision towards the side of Malaysia. But I guess this is the next best. I think it's a heavy pry on the Iritel still. This I think for game number 1, she did have a good game, but unfortunately, yeah, the assassinations from Hani were so on point. So then again, Malaysia, last 2 bans, maybe jungler options here, and the roamer option, somebody that can set up the play. Badang, but they're banning away the Julian, something that we've seen resurface here, but I wouldn't say had a very good run in Iesf. So
yeah. They'll probably just hone in on the jungle options here. You see the Moscow taken out, so
yeah.
I think for Malaysia, even if you take out the Moscow, you could potentially just pick up a Bruno again with this, because it'd be the same matchup. The Bruno versus that Irithel, and like I was saying in game 1, I was like, Fanfao, she's good at getting the position that she needs. She's good at getting the space that she needs, and the team provides her that. So, and you're still going to have this. Like, you're going to have this more now that you have a Farsa and a YSS on your side. They do go for the last ban from Malaysia. It's a Grok. And for Thailand, I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if it's still gold lane. If it's not, they might want to go ahead and focus in on the potential XP lane option maybe once more. But nonetheless, Thailand, with the fact that they picked up the Zetian here, I know it provides vision. I just think she lacks damage. That's the main part. Like, in the long run of things, like in the greater scheme of things of this game, Farsa is going to be way more valuable from start to finish. And that's the biggest thing. And I think teams really found that out over the course of bringing her into competitive play. Now, yeah, you can still play around the vision.
This is the first time we've seen it here. I think even in I'm not quite sure if this popped up in the male division, but I believe this is the first time we're going to be seeing it. Yep, fell short. I think a lot of the teams prefer, to go head-to-head with the Farsa. Yeah, Eve, Kadira, but let's see. Thailand just, they want to have vision also, and this is one of them. The stuns are also great. A great opening for the rest of the team to go all the way in. They beef up their lineup even further with the high loss. I'm now thinking something for Binok. Will she still go for assassin here? Like Joy
again?
There's pretty much no other option, because she's only picked up the Lancelot, the Joy, not unless you want to go something off chart like Nolan or something like that. It has a great early though. You got the Uranus on the XP.
Yeah, she might go Joy again, just to give it another shot.
Or you want to beef up the lineup even... Oh, I was going to say that. If they want to beef up the lineup even further, I was talking about the sustain that they love going for. And honestly, it's good, but I think the damage is going to heavily rely on Hells here on the Iritel, if you think about it. Like,
that's my problem with it. I don't like the Fredrin. I don't like the Fredrin pick for this. I think it's way too slow in comparison to what Malaysia's drafting. And also how game 1 went. That's the other thing. The Fredrin with a Hylos, a Uranus and Zetian, who doesn't have that much damage, by the way. Again, like you said, you're putting a lot of your eggs in one basket here, which is the Airthil. But there are strategies like this. Like some teams like to do this. It's a 4+1 strategy where you're really playing into your gold lane. But I don't know. I think we're gonna have some difficulty. Yeah, Esmeralda for the XP lane. So then you'll have the Ganakacha and the Roam here. So I don't know. I'm worried about Thailand's lineup because I feel like they're just going to be out damaged in the early game and throughout the game. They're going to be out damaged. That's the main thing. So I guess their idea, their concept is, okay, we'll take the damage. We'll just make sure that we can survive it, and then they'll have, you know, the revitalized plus the glorious pathway. So that's what they're banking on.
So much pressure though on Hells, and I think to a certain extent, even Ramela here, even though we did say the Zetian does not have that much damage compared to a Farsa, that's a lot of pressure on these two members here of Thailand. So I feel like for Malaysia, again, if this is going to be the case, you definitely know who you're going to go for here.
Yep.
If you're the Esmeralda or the Yisun Shin here, even to a certain extent, to set up the place. But here we are heading over into match point here between Malaysia and Thailand. Let's see if this is going to force out a game number 3 for the members here of Thailand. But for Malaysia, they're looking to close this out real strong with this lineup, shades of what they had in game number 1 as we head over into the Land of Dawn here. Rina versus Binok on the Fredrin. Oh, this is quite similar to the draft that their male team actually has. I'm not so sure if you've seen that matchup, Nice, or I think it was me and realized that Casada. It was like, yeah, heavy sustain. They were actually able to carry it out, but speaking of sustain, that's not gonna happen. Esmeralda versus Uranus, classic matchup previously, but right now, even with their it's a Purify on the Uranus.
Yeah,
I'm seeing that right because they're both green.
Yeah. That's a Purify. But how did she die? How did Cat Chaser die for first blood? You know, that early on, it must have had to be, I don't know, it looked like it was a solo kill, too. I guess,
solo kill.
You know? So you have that rotation coming down at the bottom lane, too. They're still putting pressure on Cat Chaser.
They're like, they have to contain somebody, right? And then this is pretty much what they did also, the prio on the rotation on the XP, right? This is also the reason why Malaysia was able to get a lot of these neutral objectives. So with Cat Chaser out, right? Like, you wouldn't want her to reach level 4 just yet. Advantage, again, for the side of Malaysia. I mean, they keep on doing this up against Cat Chaser so that she's a bit behind Sha when it comes to the level takes, especially in this turtle pit. It is going to be crucial on who sets up the place, and the Esmeralda definitely has that. Look at Sha already reaching that level 4 power spike, as Yuki gonna get the taunts here from the Feathered Airstrike.
Oh no, mid lane, Feathered Airstrike's gonna be dropped down. They're actually gonna be able to fight it off though. They're gonna jump back in. Cat Chaser wanted some revenge. There you go, the Fury of the Phoenix being dropped down. They get a flicker out though. No one goes down, but a whole lot of battle spells are expended. But now Turtle is up, and I think both teams still want to face off for this, still want to fight for that first objective. And it's just going to be a 4v4. No one's going to reset, and both gold laners will stay in the gold lane, but it looks like they get the call. Wait for some of the ultimates is what they want to do, and Malaysia will go ahead and just buy some time.
Yeah, the battle spells are important here for the Thailand, especially for Ramela. Even Hells has used up the sprint here, but yep, Cat Chase is gonna keep on doing that. I mean, if Sha is continuously pressuring her lane, this is the best that she can do to get her stacks up so she can pop in the Radiance. Looking how this is contained, they're just waiting for Rina to get in that purple, perhaps get in the Mountain Shocker on at least Gambling or Cat Chaser here. But no ultimates have been used just yet. But the turtle already at 1/4 HP. Feathered Airstrike from Honey.
Oh, they're going to go for it. Rina will get the objective. And now, but not in trouble. She goes down. Sha will pick up a kill too. That's multiple kills plus an objective. And Ramela trying to get away with 1 HP. Rina lining up the shot. And it'll land. So Malaysia, they bought time for the objective. They secured it. And some kills to go with it. They got a whole lot there.
Yep, they just waited for, that's like 1 level ahead for the side of Malaysia. And looking at how things are panning out here so far, it's still pretty quiet here in the gold lane. So a lot of the pressure you see is mostly on Cat Chaser, that this Uranus hasn't been able to push forward yet. And even
Shah here is already cutting the waves very early on up against this Uranus.
Yeah, there's, again, when you go down first blood that early, as the Uranus, who is supposed to be kind of like that bulwark hero, it puts you in a precarious position, especially against an Esmeralda. Shah is 3-0 right now, so she's going to be scaling up very quickly on the hero that plays into that. So you can see them both just kind of cutting the waves, doing their thing, but look where Shah is. She's got the information on exactly where Banach is, and she's starting up her orange, so given that information, and that's going to set things up for Malaysia's next move. So while both XP laners are doing their thing there, the rest of the team has to decide on how do we stop this from Malaysia just snowballing out of control here for Thailand, because this is actually worse of a position in the early game than they had in the previous game. So that's what we have to see how they answer. Look at everybody, though, rotating for this next objective, looking to potentially get a kill here. Oh, and they'll find it! The stun comes through. Hells is gone. Now in the mid lane, Mount Shocker going to be used. Another body drops, double for Hanny. Looking for more. Yuki will find Gamblings in there. Banach trying to hold down the mid lane. Revitalize to heal back up Malaysia. And after 2 kills, they'll make their way for the second turtle.
Beautifully executed there by Malaysia. It's just a 4-man rotation in the long bush. They got the stuns there and just deleted Thailand. 3 members were out, but right now Banach is trying to contest. Oh, she's able to pick up the turtle for the side of Thailand. Okay, that's the best that she can do for now, but Shah is just going to deny that. She's at level 8 and standing at 403 on this Esmeralda just after that first blood up against Cat Chaser.
Yeah, Banach, she got the turtle, but again, at what cost here? Because Malaysia is just scaling up so quickly, and Shah,
oh wow,
it's proven to be a nuisance with the Esmeralda right now for the Cat Chaser. Someone's going to have to do something. She picks up a brute force as well, so scaling here and the power spike for Malaysia is going to pick up. You're sitting at 8 kills to 0. So for Thailand, like I said, even if they get some of these objectives, they're going to have to be able to go ahead and match up with the scaling here. And like I said, this Zetian's damage is very late. Here goes. Set up again. Consecrate's going to be used. A feathered airstrike too. I think Shah wanted to jump forward.
Yeah.
But better not to go ahead and wait. Oh, she didn't even have she didn't have it. So she backs off. Look at the focus though up top. So it looks like Thailand has made the decision to be like, all right, let's just trade turrets. As now Malaysia will work on tier 1 at the bottom. They get that. And did they get the top one? It looks like there's going to be a fight up there breaking out. Still,
Rina members up top.
Oh, they're going to go ahead and glorious pathway out. So they get the ultimate out. They're happy with that.
Yeah, there hasn't been any responses just yet from Thailand. Only the turtle steal earlier up against the side of Malaysia. But I think right now they're just being so reactive to what Malaysia has been putting out. And there's the feathered airstrike.
Feathered airstrike going to be used again. Mid lane, the focus. The turret's going to drop, and now Cat Chaser again. Shah, as tanky as she is, she does go down to an Appraiser's Wrath, though. So finally, a shutdown on Shah. Thailand needed that gold. They get it. Third turtle of the game's coming up here.
Yep, but it's a good thing though that it went to Binok here. And so far, I think for Thailand, they're just trying to get in as much defensive items as they can now. And Malaysia, again, pretty much like their lineup in game number 1, has so much burst. That's going to be the last turtle going to the side of Malaysia, but that's glorious pathway as well on the backside.
The worldie. Able to go ahead and pick up a kill. Now there's a jump in with the AOG as Hells is gone. They're going to break out the fight. Gambling X to follow. This could be another triple for Fao. Looking for the Maniac here. Cat Chaser! She does pop the Consecrate, but the last hit will give the Maniac to Fao. That's just way too much, and it's a wipeout too. Malaysia will march it down the mid lane. They'll get this tier 2 down. It's still early enough. So Banach comes up Hells as well, but they're going to lose some of the space to work with and resources in the jungle.
Yeah, that's a second Maniac for Fafao here in the Iesf Asia and Oceania qualifiers. The first one, I believe it was when she was rocking the Moscow. So this just is very telling of what Malaysia wanted to happen, right? Like they got that fast. There was a heavy prio on the XP and then just wait for Fafao to go online. This has been what they were doing even since when we started this tournament. So looking at how this is going, it's kind of hard to stop this Bruno, not unless you kind of land that, sandwich him in between the glorious pathway or the toss from the Fredrin, but it seems like that's not going to be the case as the
Oh!
AOG comes from the backside.
AOG finds two, but not going to be falling next. Two down, but the Feathered Airstrike zoning out Hells. Cat Chaser also jumps in. Fafo jumps in with a flicker. She picks up the triple already, and Rina cleans it up again. It's another wipeout. Malaysia just can't be stopped. 19-1 in the kills, a massive lead, 10,000 plus. They're going to get this base turret in the bottom lane. They might potentially end it here, actually. They still have a cannon minion. It's only Gambling X. She's going to be zoned out here, and the base is going to be locked on. Malaysia goes in and gets the sweep 2-0 over Thailand.
I can't believe it. In less than, it was less than 10 minutes. They took in the W, and of course getting in this series with a sweep, pretty much like what they had in game number 1. But like what we said, immense amount of sustain from Thailand. They love playing for this composition. Even their male division, it has a pretty similar feel towards their ladies division. But how can you with the burst damage that Malaysia had in that last game? There were some, I would say, good. There was only one good steal here from the Turtle, and the rest just went to the side of Malaysia. I think apart from that, this is where you see where the damage is lagging. There's enough front line, but not enough people to burst down the heroes that you need to burst down from the side of Malaysia. Plus, the ultimates were almost all the time always on point. The Mountain Shocker, we did only see one AOG, and that was in the latter part of the game. And not to mention, Sha also just pretty much won this lane up against the Uranus. A solo kill very early on, and eventually it just went very well for the entire team of Malaysia here when Fafao was able to sail up.
Yeah, Fafao, I mean, you mentioned her specifically leading into the match, and I think even just seeing the series alone, that she's definitely deserving of an MVP. Even for this series, because a Maniac then a triple, which also could have been another Maniac, honestly. But nonetheless, it all started on an early first blood kill that went to Sha. She was able to shut down Cat Chaser. Remember, Cat Chaser wanted this Uranus multiple times, but it just didn't work. And if you get behind on a Uranus early on, you are going to have a difficult time where you're supposed to be that tanky frontliner hero, but you're just shut down, and so that's really difficult here to just deal with, I feel like. And it was exactly what I said in the draft, Kim. I was like, I don't like the Zetian pick because you just lack so much damage. It was all relying on Hells, and Hells had a hard enough time because eventually she's like, I just need to join these fights. So when she was rotating to join the objective fights, Malaysia knew that, and then they just set up the stuns, and the damage was there to take out an Irithyll who was trying to scale up. So, it's one of those things where even in the draft, even if you're tanky and durable like the Fredrin and the Hylos and the Uranus, but you get behind that quickly, it doesn't matter because of just how much outscaling is going to happen here. And that's why we had an under 10-minute game.
Yeah, we didn't see much of the AOGs from Yuvi. I think for this entire match, I think half of it, she was up top with Fafao, and then by the time Fafao was ready, they just went all in. And like what you said, there wasn't enough damage from Thailand. Enough sustain though, I can't deny them that, but it is still Malaysia quickly taking in that 2-0, sweeping Malaysia, sweeping the Team Thailand here for our playoffs. But overall, I think it's despite the results here, I do have to say that the Thai team has I would say significant improvements compared to what I've seen the last time I've seen them in in play. So kudos, GG's, nice try. Hope to see you guys come back stronger. But for Malaysia, they're gonna go straight for the last match that we're gonna be having for the day, and some off-stream matches update as well. It's actually Cambodia that won up against the Philippines. It was a clean sweep also. So wow.
Cambodia beat the men's team, and Cambodia beat the women's team.
Oh, this was not on my bingo card. Philippines was looking real strong yesterday, but wow, I would have loved to see that match. But
yeah,
wow, what a statement from the Cambodian team. I mean,
hey, that's great for them.
Yeah, so good. Congratulations. So that means we're going to be seeing Malaysia versus Cambodia, a matchup, but I think that we've seen also in the group stages later on in our final match for the day. So a lot of surprises here for me. And yeah, if you guys want to catch the results again, it's available on iesf.gg for the updates or the off-stream matches. You can catch it all there. It's being updated real time. So there you have it. What a day! I was actually
Yeah.
expecting to see usually we'd expect to see like say Malaysia won this one, right? And then we were expecting to see Philippines, but wow, a lot of surprises today. Let's see later on. We are going to be having our final match for the day. This has been Kim and Naisu. We're going to be having a long break first before we head over into our last and final match of the day, the World IESF Asia and Oceania qualifiers. We'll be right back with more MLBB action.
You got it. You got it.
Went back. What? Yeah, okay, I'm in. Okay. Yeah, you sure? Just
You
making
got
sure
it.
that I'm listening to him. But welcome back to the World Esports IESF. Let me do that again. Take two. Welcome back to the World Esports IESF Asia and Oceania qualifiers. That was a long break, but hope you guys caught your breaths, got some snacks, took a bath or whatsoever. But we're down to our last two teams in our last BO3. It's us, not the Weeberry Bros, but Kim and Naisu here for the very last matchup of BO3. Two teams that we actually opened up this tournament with, Cambodia and Malaysia, and we're going to be closing out with the exact same team. Super poetic. I'm excited. Let's see if Cambodia can finally, get that revenge up against Malaysia, knowing that this is already the last stage. They took out one of the powerhouses off stream, which is the Philippines, the
Yep.
team that is actually favored to win the matchup earlier. But yep, they have made it to the stage in the playoffs. Malaysia versus Cambodia today.
This is really interesting. I think just in the fact that it's Cambodia that beat the Philippines in the men's, and then we've had that happen here now in the women's. And this would be a great kind of full circle thing for Cambodia if they beat Malaysia here, because it was almost like what we saw in the men's, where Cambodia beat Indonesia, the other powerhouse team that a lot of people tend to look for. And once again, this is our roster for Malaysia. And I think even if you haven't watched the previous matches or anything else, you know that this Malaysian team is going to, be impressive. I think is almost an understatement at this point, because even their last matchup, they won
2-0.
very convincingly 2-0, and against Cambodia, who is also a very experienced team, by the way. Like these players have a lot of skill, a lot of veterancy under their belt. Again, we didn't get to see the match that they played against the Philippines just recently because it was the off-stream match, but they 2-0'd the Philippines. So I think that is also a big statement on just how good this Cambodia lineup is for this year's ISF Asia and Oceania qualifier. Now, are they strong enough to take down Malaysia, who has been on a roll ever since the start? And like you said, Kim, started off the entire journey here for the Mlbb women's in a sweep. Like, Cambodia has already played them. They got swept. Now, all the matches they've been through, especially with their recent win, can they take what they've learned and have a better time? Hopefully 3 games against Malaysia.
Yeah, I mean, the first day was how long ago was that? 3 days ago.
Yeah.
So they got 3 days to kind of gone up against different opponents as well on all those 3 days. So I feel like coming into this last and final match, they want to close it out strong. And I mean, they have the momentum. They just beat the Philippines, and it's not even a 3-game series. It was a 2-0. So I think that's a statement itself coming here into this last game. But looking at this, like, I think it's also going to be important because I was actually reviewing the clips that and the games that they had in the first day when I casted with Realize. So I was checking what they prioritized, what they didn't prioritize. There was a lot of like head-to-head battle. It was most of the time it was the Yi Sun Shin and the Lancelot. There was also a steal from both sides with the Lancelot, so I'm not so sure if that's going to be perma-banned for both for all of the games today, or will they just let that slide?
You
But,
remember?
I think I also gotta add as well. I saw the lineup earlier of I think it was Malaysia. I think it was Yuki playing, not Syndicat. So I'm not so sure if it's the same player, but yeah, do let us know in the chat. So I just gotta add that. Sorry, you were saying?
No, I was just gonna say, with the main thing, while we're waiting for the draft here, it's really like we already know how Malaysia wants to play. We've seen them on stream a couple times now, and over for Cambodia, it's like I think it's more or less just going to be a very similar kind of strategy that we see from even the men's teams. That seems to be the case, Kim. It's like when we see these like female teams play, there's the women's MLBB teams, they have their own, I don't know, like their own twist or spark to a strategy that we're used to seeing from their regions. You know, Malaysia likes to play very quickly. That's why they like those pick-off drafts, or like they picked up the Kadita and they were able to get the snowball rolling really quickly. Cambodia is like that too. They're one of the regions that even before, when I feel like we were more towards like utility objective based meta, they were one of those few teams and one of those few countries that still like to, they adapted to it. Like they did learn the objective game and the utility game, but they still like even played those aggressively in a way. You know what I mean? They're one of the teams that like to play quickly. And so I think even for here, that's something that we've seen this trend of. And I was just saying this before our last match. It's like we're in a position where a lot of the teams, if they can get the ball rolling, even like into the first turtle, some teams really just, that's where they capitalize. That's where they catapult. You know, they get the first turtle, and then next thing you know, they're just taking off. And some teams have really mastered that. I think Malaysia so far has really demonstrated that to us over here. So far for the women's teams.
Yeah, I think for Cambodia as well, they can also play the fast game. So I think both these teams play the same tempo, the same tune. So I think it's a matter of I think the draft will be super important for both these teams. Like they've already got so much VODs, so much information about what each team is comfortable with, what each team loves to play with. I think for this particular matchup, the Lancelot for both Tegami of Cambodia and Rina here of Malaysia, they love playing this hero, and once they have their hands on it, you can almost immediately say that the early will go to their team. So I feel like the Lancelot might be left open here, or I feel like if the teams just don't want to deal with it, let's just bat it away. So I don't know. We're going to have to find out later on in the draft. But yeah, you can expect to see that the Lancelots will slide through, and the Eastern Shits that, of course, provide a very good early for the team.
You know, the other thing that I know teams are doing a lot of, Kim, is like they're prioritizing the Uranus. And I don't know if like that's the right call, right? Like there's just, especially like priority wise in the first phase, I think in some cases, like so far, at least here from the women's matches too, actually just in general, now that I think about it, even across like some of the professional leagues and everything else, the Uranus hasn't been able to do as much as he did originally when like he was on the rise again. For some reason, I think a lot of teams have just figured out how to handle that. Part of that too, again, is there's just the whole snowball thing. Like if teams are built on compositions where they snowball, it handles the Uranus fine. But so I think the CC is going to be the main contention, because like we paid attention to a lot of like the jungle, and I think what we're seeing a lot of is XP lane presence too. So far, there's been a lot of Uranus. The Esmeralda has been the answer. So we're going back to the nostalgia of that matchup, the Uranus versus the Esmeralda. So that
which we've seen in the last game, the last series rather, like
and the Esme got the first blood.
Esmeralda.
So that's not where you want to be in that case. So I don't know. I think teams will still ban out the CC. That seems to be the number one pick right now in the XP lane. Lapu Lapu as well, and Uranus. So those are the ones that I think are going to be contention here. But for this, it looks like that we're going to see some very standard bans. The Baksha, the Jushin, Wan. Maybe the play here for Cambodia, Malaysia is to just go for the trade for the first game. Like just go for the jungle trade, because really that's where it's going to start for the Lancelot in the YSS.
Yeah, I'm actually checking out the day number 1, because I do have the information here. These are the exact same bans, because in game number 2, I believe this was the exact same bans coming out from both sides, wherein Malaysia was on the blue side. And let me guess, totally don't have the information, but it's a Kalea last ban. This is based off the stats that I've seen, based off the VODs. And Yisun Shin ban for Cambodia. For Cambodia for the last ban, but they did pick up the Arlot. So this is just based off on what I've seen in game number 2 of the very first day. So the Lancelot, so it seems like they're not gonna let it slide this time. Maybe like what you said, pick up Uranus in the XP. Arlot also is something that Cambodia usually puts in the ban list. So I don't know if they're gonna let that slide, but in this case, Cambodia is either going to have to ban out the Arlot or the Yisun Shin at this point.
They can... Honestly, I don't know. I think Cambodia is almost willing to play into the YSS. A lot of the teams seem like they're willing to play into it, which could backfire, and it has backfired even in the last match. Like that backfired when the YSS went through. So I don't know. I think Cambodia themselves, it's like, do they have a good plan for it? There's the Arlot ban. So you were just mentioning this. This is basically the same then, right?
Almost the same. Just the last bans are different this time for both sides. So the Yi okay, almost immediately. I think that's a no-brainer for a lot of the teams. They just picked this up. It's like deja vu from the first day of the male division. But yeah, we're gonna have to figure out the rest of the draft. Let's see if it comes back. I believe what do we have here? The Uranus Gatot Kacha is still open. I think they can also prio the gold lane here for the side of Cambodia, since Fafao has spammed just the Moskov and the Bruno so far, so they might want to go that angle, steal away some power picks out from Fafao, who has pretty much secured two Maniacs over the course here of Iesf Asia Qualifiers.
Yeah, someone's got to do something to contain Fafa. I know we hear the draft, but there it is. Okay, so we've got Kalea. Wow, Kimmy Kalea. That gives a lot of crowd control that Cambodia can play into. So this would also force then Malaysia to pick up at least a couple Purifies. They get the Gadakasha and the Farsa. So this is a solid start for Malaysia right now. For Cambodia, do they want to pick up the mid lane here, or do they decide to go ahead and go jungle also? Knowing that, again, they're going to have to play in the YSS, so they might be forced on a utility pick. This could be a Fredrin, honestly. They could actually, Cambodia could actually decide to go with Fredrin, because Fredrin, Kimmy, Kalea are actually pretty good trio to have.
Yeah, there was a draft that Cambodia actually had 3 marksmen, but that time was when they secured the Kimmy and the YSS. Plus, I think that was a Granger, or was it a Granger? Let me just take a look at my notes. It was a Kimmy, a Beatrix, and a Yi. So all lanes are scaling up, and like what I said, Cambodia loves to play with the damage. If Malaysia wants to go for that early, they're just gonna add up to the damage. They already got a setter here. Last 2 bans coming out from Cambodia. I'm looking at the XP lane bans here, the Lapu Lapu, Uranus even, which a lot of the teams really prioritized lately.
They probably, I think in the most part, you have to go ahead and see what Cambodia wants to do in the jungle. But honestly, given how they locked in their gold lane, and it's a YSS, like I said, they'll probably just go with Fredrin, unless Malaysia bans it out. So they ban out 2 utility junglers. This would really narrow down the options for Cambodia, where we potentially see them pick up, what other utility would be left? A Kai or something.
Yeah, this was banned away also. Yeah. And, so they're going the route of Assassin. So they know as well that Cambodia can do that early game, and I think it's difficult if you're a Yi going up against a Hayabusa, especially in contesting for the first turtle objectives just like that. But for Cambodia here, I think they're trying to put Fafao in a corner here, maybe perhaps ban also the Bruno. I think at this case, if they want to corner Fafao here, maybe Irithel or Bruno ban could come through here for Cambodia, but that just leaves the XP lane wide open. There's a lot of choices still available.
Yeah, this is kind of up in the air for both of them, because even for Malaysia, it's like XP lane wise, they could go and just put a Phoveus if they wanted to. You see that the Bruno does get banned out, which is great considering what just happened in the previous match, like we were talking about with Fafa. And so she might just go in Irithel, honestly, eventually when that comes through, because it still serves the mobility that she's probably gonna want against a Kimmy Kalea combination anyway. And I'm not sure if she's just gonna, whatever she does pick in the gold lane, like she's probably gonna need that Purify, like I was saying, unless they have a different plan. So last ban I think is still jungle. Like, do you go Fredrin? Like, do they ban the Fredrin here? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think,
makes sense.
okay.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say,
right.
if they didn't ban the Fredrin, like you would go Fredrin 100 times out of 10.
Yeah.
You know, 100%, 110 out of this, because Cambodia wanted that which is why I'm surprised they didn't pick it up in the first phase. Like, they probably could have waited on the Granger anyway, but they also just didn't want that to potentially get banned out, I guess. So I'm wondering, what do they put here in the jungle then?
I think that's the only one left to pick up when it comes to the utility. There's also the X-Borg, or they want to go all out, just go for more burst, the Joy. And oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I was expecting more of the Akai with the lineup that they have. They already have the damage with their gold and mid, so they add up to more magic damage with the magic burst damage with the Joy, which kind of signals that, yeah, Cambodia wants to go fast-paced and there's early. But then again, if you don't make this lineup work, that's just too much scaling for their side, and they're pretty much very vulnerable at this point too. I would say 3 of their heroes are very squishy here.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about Cambodia's lineup when that Joy was locked in, just because, again, yeah, you can do some decent damage, but you're going to have to get through this, and I think you're going to have a very difficult time contesting objectives, because you either have to grab someone with the traction pulse, or you're almost forcing the Kalea to be the one to start it up. Every single time we've seen Kalea successful, it's when a Kalea doesn't have to be the one initiating those fights all the time, burning the flicker to get the Tsunami Slam off. The most successful Kaleas are well-rounded and complemented by the XP lane. That's why this last pick is so crucial. I would say Lapu Lapu would be great, especially if you can work with that space to be gained there. But again, you're going against a glue, so this is a tough decision for Cambodia, and they're going to go Phoveus. So still serves a purpose. It also helps you to deal with the Harith a little bit here, and even the YSS to an extent. But I'm still, like, even with the Phoveus being locked in, I'm still worried a little bit about Cambodia's lineup, because you know, unless they can get a start, this is one of those things where it's like, if you can start early with a Joy and kind of scale up just like a YSS would, then you should be able to snowball yourself for Cambodia, and then you can rely on the Granger later on. I just think the overall profile of Malaysia's lineup is better throughout the entirety of the game, whereas Cambodia is definitely going to be playing around the catch of a Kalea, like catch them with the Tsunami Slam, or maybe the Traction Pulse to help that happen.
Yeah, or the flicker combo of the Phoveus to get that Infernal Pursuit started up. So that's also one way to engage. Nonetheless, the Kimi here from the side of Cambodia can also go aggressive with the pokes. But the thing is, the lineup here also of Cambodia is punishable here by the side of Malaysia. There's so many ways to punish. You got the glue to kind of disrupt your formation. Then you also have the Garot Kacha with the AOG that has such a tremendously high win rate here in Iesf. So let's see. We're heading into the first match here of our last match, our last BO3 for the day. It's Cambodia versus Malaysia, both on a win streak. Let's see who will draw the first blood here.
Okay, jumping in, I think we always have to go ahead and look at the first rotations. You can see what the idea is going to be here, especially for Cambodia. Taking a look at the emblems as well. Let me see, nothing too crazy. You got to pull yourself together here for Yui. She's going to be working with that. Tenacity too, a little bit vitality actually. Mid lane, I mean, they're right now Cambodia's doing pretty good. Just kind of honing down on Hanny, so this is what the Kimi does so well in the early game.
Yeah, I was gonna point out also the choice of emblem here of Sha. She actually went for the basic common emblem on the glue. I know some players would actually opt for a different emblem. So with the basic common emblem, it's much better to stack up on your mana, and this is exactly the reason why she is a little bit ahead. You can poke the heck out of this Phoveus, especially when it hasn't reached that level 4 power spike yet. You can just keep on doing this and get that good rotate on the bottom side. And then again, this was the thing for Malaysia. They really prioritize the rotation towards the XP, make sure that it wins. They rack up all of those turtles, and then eventually their gold laner gets the farm, get the gold for the entire team. Malaysia starting up the turtle already at 1 HP. I think this should be them containing this, taking this without any contest at all. For Cambodia, not unless they want to go in.
Okay, jumping on in. Oh, Rina's already gone. Cambodia fighting, looking for Yuki. Should be able to get a kill here too. Yuki, even with a passive, won't be able to withstand it. Lane picks up a kill. Now, oh, Sha has to flicker out, but she's going to be chased down too. She does get away though, but Cambodia getting the 2 kills. They traded it for that turtle, but they might be able to get more here. Fighting forward, and it looks like a flicker out too. They still want to take this buff, and they do.
Wow. I mean, Cambodia, this is exactly what they want to do with this kind of lineup, right? Like, make sure that they win this early and give Rina like a bit more pressure in the early stages of the game. I mean, you wouldn't want a Yisun Shin to scale up pretty fast. I guess that was such a good, that was very good timing as well coming out from Tagami. Going for the electrifying beats when Malaysia thought that she was just probably somewhere else around the map farming, and it just went in their favor. And I guess this is the time where you need to take these high risks with the lineup of Malaysia that's a bit more balanced out. I don't think Sha's gonna be able to survive that one. 2 members down bot, so they also do know where to go and rotate here for the side of Cambodia. Aggression after aggression, mid lane, jungle, and even on the XP lane.
Okay. Wow, mid lane too. Tsunami Slam going to be used, but the Purify is out as I expected when that player came up. You'd see 2 Purifies here for the side of Malaysia, which is fine because they're going to need them. Now for Cambodia, with this little bit of a lead that they have, they should be able to get scale into it. The big thing is that Moshi got those 2 kills on the Phoveus, so anytime we see the XP laners get that advantage, that actually plays into the objective taking really well, because now XP laners, they really serve this purpose of to alleviate some of the pressure from the roamers, and that's what we see here. So expect Moshi to be that big front line here for Cambodia as they walk into the second turtle.
3 kills already for the side of Cambodia. They want to snowball, but I think in this part of the world, fireball with this lineup. But again, they're gonna go all the way in. They're setting up the place here for their side as the Infernal Pursuit is started up here by Moshi.
Whoa. Oh, hold on, they're gonna get locked down. Yui gone. Mountain Shocker still fighting for the second turtle. Sha has to flicker out too. Yuki though, popping the Revitalize, and there's Moshi, like I was saying, just dunking with the Infernal Pursuit. She'll get stopped in her tracks though, and Yuki finally goes down. Sha gonna be next. Moshi still there. Has a little bit of sustainability to work with, but still holding him off the second turtle. This is why I was saying a double kill early on was so good for Moshi. Now she's got 3 turtles secured for Cambodia. Moshi alone just zoned out multiple members of Malaysia.
Yeah, you want action? There's definitely a whole lot of action here. Papang forced to pop in the Zaman force there up top. That would have been a pick off there for the side of Cambodia. They really are very strong in the early game. I think this, you guys probably have witnessed this in the first day of Iesf, but right now they're just putting their just making sure that they steamroll with this kind of lineup. I think for Malaysia, they're just pretty much reacting to what Cambodia is putting out right now. Papang might get sandwiched here on the lane. Moshi.
Yeah, she's gonna need help too. Yuki is luckily there, Sha as well. They might be able to save this turret. Hanny rotating up too. So it looks like Malaysia's gonna make the play to just go ahead and put pressure elsewhere on the map if they can. You see both junglers hanging out on the bottom side. But right now, it's Cambodia with this lead, with this advantage, this little bit of a momentum that they can work with. So if we look at this, you know, scaling wise, where does that time for Malaysia come into this? So a lot of it, once again, is how can you utilize the feathered airstrikes from Hani, and then Foul on the Harith is going to take a while. Honestly, you just got to kind of buckle up and wait for this, because you don't have much other damage until Rina even gets, you know, maybe her 3rd or 4th item, because you don't have an entryway into the objective. So right now it's Cambodia controlling this space around the map, and I expect them to actually take the space around this 3rd turtle too once it comes up in about 15. And I don't know if Malaysia should really fight for it, if they should just push for more space. They did get that turret though. They put the work in up top. They got the tier 1. So they open up the map a little bit here. If they can make a play in the mid, they might go ahead and swing things in their favor. But Cambodia sees what's happening. They're going to push that tier 1 up top as well.
Oh no. There's the Infernal Pursuit. I think that's what's making it really hard also for Malaysia to come in. The Infernal Pursuit gets reset every single time when you try to go in for these three-man rotations. Feathered Airstrike is up.
Oh, again, Moshi leading the charge. They're going to jump in. Tagami as well. Oh, no, Hani's gone. But Rina got the turtle, but they're going to desperately try to stay together, but they'll lose this fight. Sha on the run, already down. Tsunami Slam, bringing Sha back. She'll fall. Rina will pick up a kill on Yui. They traded out 3 for 1, and the turtle goes to Malaysia. So, again, keeping things at even for now between Malaysia and Cambodia.
You can see their movements. They kind of want to make sure that their lanes are farmed up well. So far it's Moshi here on the Phoveus that already got in the kills. So right now it's Mlbb, the one leading, of course. But AOG.
Oh, what an AOG in the Unbreakable from Yuki. A great timing and a response there. That Mount Shocker really helping once again with that little bit of stun. Traction Pulse going to be used. Feathered Airstrike dropping down Bao. She should be okay. They really want this turret. They're going to lose space up top, though, too. You have Fafao working on the tier 2. They send Moshi to go deal with her. I'm not sure if she'll be able to push her completely off. It looks like that turret was at half health or below. So right now, Malaysia playing the macro game here.
I'm actually curious how much gold Fafao has at this point, right? This is what they were playing around with also in the first day of the qualifiers. So playing around Fafao, and I think at this point she's playing the Harriet like she's playing the Moscow. So just making sure those side lanes are cleared out. She gets to farm up the minions as well. Oh, AOG!
AOG again, Unbreakable will be able to find too. Yui's gone. There's the flicker from Moshi though. She's still going to be alive now. Fafao, Joe to the fight. A lot of damage on Elen as she is gone. Another trade though. Malaysia this time favored with a 2 for 1.
Yeah, but this time the gold lane, their side laners are farmed up pretty well. They have to take note of Fafao as well. They haven't gotten any pickoffs on her. She's been freely farming up top, now down bot. So there's a certain timer, I would say, here for Malaysia. This was the exact same thing that happened also in the first day. So once Fafao was online, they just rampage. They just stepped on the gas up against Cambodia, and they were able to win the game. But Cambodia's still not out yet. They've shown a very strong early. Now they kind of have to close this game.
Oh. Bao had to flicker, so she burnt that. That was the whole plan. They started up the Lord. They had it at half health. They pulled off with it. Land does get a Divine Glaive. Yui gonna jump in. Tsunami Slam again. Purify gonna be used. Sha now taking the brunt of damage. AOG right into 3. Will pull off the Unbreakable. Yui's gone. Sha could be next. Yuki in trouble. She doesn't have the Revitalize just yet. She falls. Moshi taking the brunt of the damage. And it's Cambodia that wins that fight. They're gonna go for the reset. They might be able to delay this out. I don't think they can commit to the Lord here.
Yeah, they can't even take down Moshi just yet. There's the pokes from the Kimi, which is making it extra hard here for the side of Malaysia to go in for the full burst on Moshi. Right now, up top though, Mlbb, she doesn't have the flicker here.
Bao doesn't have the flicker. They're gonna chase her down. They know, and they shut her down. And now the rest of Cambodia trying to answer up top. Hani also waiting patiently there. She has the Feathered Airstrike. She could push them off so Cambodia knows they're down 1. It's their gold laner. Do they approach this? Do they want to contest? They still have great damage, great setup potential. Right now, they might just have to. Again, Faofao's going to go ahead and start this Lord. It's about half health. They could just decide to go for this. They're going to pressure it in already. Zaman Force going to be dropped down. Rina will get the Lord. And Moshi finally shut down.
Oh, but Tagami.
Jumping on in. Tagami popping the beats, but she'll have to back off. Right now, Malaysia, they won that fight.
Wow, that was, I think they really had to go for the Lord, right? They were baiting for somebody to go in, Yue or Moshi. And once Moshi went in, there was that extra swing from the Lord to add up to all of the bursts that Malaysia had. They were able to get the shutdown gold plus the Lord. So that was a win for the side of Malaysia. That's why you see Cambodia kind of respecting that, backing away from that very moment after Moshi was bursted down. You see the Lord is already marching up top as well. So this is the time as well for the side of Malaysia to kind of ease the pressure that Cambodia has been putting out since the start of this game.
Okay. We'll see how Cambodia decides to go ahead and answer this, because it is only that first Lord. They should be relatively okay. They have decent clear too. They're going to lose the tier 2 turret in the mid. Lord takes the one up top that was worked on by Fao earlier on. Look at Tagami. She might go for that back play if they can. Feathered Airstrike going to be dropped down. Oh, you laid gone, and there's Tagami. She jumps in for Hani, but doesn't get her. Wings by wings on out. 2 down for Cambodia. Lord takes out that top base turret. This is a little bit of an opening here for Malaysia. They know they have the numbers advantage, and they look for more. Tagami has to go to clear in. They're going to jump in anyway. Shot jumps in right for Bao, but Bao will take her out. They're going to drop down the Zaman Force. Yui jumps on out. They only have that one minion. They might want to just call it off and back out. Hani leading the charge down that mid lane. And then Cambodia able to defend.
Yeah, it's difficult to force that situation. Hani does not have the Purify, so once she gets caught in, the wave clear might not look so great. The burst damage from the back lines is something that they were looking for. 10-10 is the score. And speaking of, it's actually Rina up on top right now with the most gold earned. Even though it was a rough start, she actually racked it up to 613 right now for her KDA. And so far, her positioning has been really pristine here in this game. Most of the time, she just goes in for the final kill, playing the Yusenshin like how an assassin is supposed to be played like. But right now, one mistake from either teams can actually cost them this next Lord. 35 seconds, 33 seconds before it's up.
Yeah, I would still say Cambodia's in a good position to contest the Lord that comes up. I think the main part is them kind of juggling around the fact that they got to work through 2 purifies, potentially, because that's what we've seen when Yui's jumping in, and she's not able to get the she tsunami slams, but there's a purify, then unfortunately you can't get that setup you're looking for. So maybe Cambodia approaches the next objective where they try to get the purifies out and not overly commit to the fight, like just let's get the resources down and then reset, like have a soft reset and then go for it. The problem is, again, positioning for them. You can see the Lord is started up right now by Malaysia. It's already, what, half health, less than half health.
Yeah, they should be able to take this.
Wow.
Yeah, super
They just
fast
took it
though.
quickly.
Yeah. Immortalities are starting to come through here as well. I think for Sha and Yuki, they know very well that they're going to be the first ones in this team fight. And now here's the problem coming out from Cambodia. They have the damage, but the one that goes in most of the time is Moshi. Okay, that's one problem that Malaysia has to deal with. The second one is Yue, but they kind of have that contained as long as they have the purifies, right? So now it has to be a selected target here for Cambodia, either not Hani or Fafao. But what other choice do you have left? It's only Rina, right? It's not Sha or Yuki that you want to take in. So they have the damage, but they gotta defend up against this Lord first. Marching up top here, they should be able to take in the inhibitors. But she flickers out that one.
Oh, Mashi flickers out. She goes down anyway. Feathered Airstrike to gain space. And Tagami jumping on the back line. She does find Hani, gets the wings by wings. Fao could be in trouble. She goes in, has the shield, takes out Tagami. And now it's only 2. A base nearly down. It looks like Malaysia will just go for the win. They'll take game 1 in the best of 3.
Wow, that on button, like what I said, they just had it, they clicked it. Most of the time it does come in the form of the mid to late game when, of course, the gold laner scales up. But yeah, it was such a strong start there for Cambodia. But pretty much like what we've seen in day number 1, they're always off to a strong start, but always fail to close it out in the late game when the opponent has already almost all of the items. As you can see, they were so aggressive from the start, and this is exactly what they needed to do with this lineup before Rina and before Fafao could even scale up. So overall, pretty much up until like the 10-minute mark, it was Cambodia until Rina was able to pick up the kills. Like, we didn't see much of her, but once she went into those team fights, she was able to pick up the kills, racking up some killing spree, and then eventually they were able to fight back up against Cambodia.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, at some point, the scaling for Malaysia's lineup would be good. Like, it just took some time to get to that point, and that's the case with this kind of lineup. Now, yes, Hani was the main source of damage, I would say, in the early game, and then eventually Rina and Fao had to catch up, and that's what they did. Even when they knew that they were trading across the map, or even for some of the earlier objectives, they were pushing for space on the map, and that's what really allowed them to, you know, get to where they needed to be here. And once again, I think Rena had a fantastic game with the YSS, but also Fafao able to go ahead and scale up. You know, and Tagami had the right idea. She was like, well, I'm going to go for Hani because Hani's dropping down the feathered airstrikes. But then again, like we were both saying this in the draft, Kim, we were like, this lineup from Cambodia, it can work, but it's also very squishy. It's also, you know, like these targets, especially the Joy, if you're not able to get that initial burst of damage done, you're most likely just going to die. You're either going to get, you know, grabbed by Sha, or you're going to get taunted by Yuki with the Unbreakable, or something's going to happen to you, and that's exactly what happened. So then even so, like, where is that main source of damage from Cambodia coming from? You know, it's supposed to be the Joy, but if that doesn't happen, then you also are in the same situation where it's like, well, we got to wait for the Granger to come online. The Kimmy is annoying as heck in the beginning. You know, she just pew-pewing everywhere, but unfortunately, you got a traction pulse, and that's the majority that you have from the mid to late game here.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's also a good game for Moshi in the start, right? Like the Infernal Pursuit really disrupted the side of Malaysia. But I think overall, like what we said during the drafting phase, the overall composition for Malaysia was just really good from start to finish. And for Cambodia, it's more of like, okay, if you're able to close it out. But then they weren't able to by the time it reached the mid game and when Malaysia was able to scale up. So it was really difficult to see this kind of outcome again, especially for the team that they've had a strong start, but then again failed to close it out. So hopefully for the next game for Cambodia, maybe they should draft a bit more. I don't know, like they've only drafted mostly assassins on Tegami, so she's a bit more contained in this game. I didn't see the aggressive Tegami that I've seen in like day number 1. So let's see if they'll have some adjustments for game number 2, because we're already at a match point once again there for Malaysia. But for now, it's Kim and Naisu here at the World IESF Asia and Oceania qualifiers. Don't you guys touch that browser. We'll be right back. You're still watching the World Iesf Asia and Oceania qualifiers with me, and nice to bring you guys the action for possibly the match point here for Malaysia, but for the side of Cambodia, let's see if they can force out a game number 3, because the last time that this happened, it was a sweep for Malaysia, but then again, you can't count the Cambodians out. I mean, they just took down the Philippines.
They did. And, you know, we know that they can make this work. I mean, the last lineup, the last game from game 1, there was moments there where Cambodia was doing well. They fought back. Again, Moshi had a great start on the Fovius. It was just unfortunate that, again, it was one of those situations where, like, the time was ticking, you know, for the lineup that Malaysia brought to the table. And it would have been one of those cases where if Cambodia was able to go ahead and get, I feel like, that start that they were looking for, but then like maintain it, then better for them. It was just the way that Malaysia was playing around the team fights, where it's like they did a really good job, and simply put, not dying. Like that was the main thing, because you know, again, they were waiting for Rina and Fafao to get to that power spike that we're used to seeing with a Harith and a YSS, you know. And so I gotta say, Cambodia had the right mindset. I think we'll see them. Honestly, I feel like we're gonna go to a game 3, Kim, because Cambodia was now that they're on the blue side, they can go ahead and hopefully have a favorable draft plan for themselves. And you know, like we mentioned even before coming into this matchup, it's like they had to do something crazy. Like they should have the momentum, because they swept the Philippines too, and they did both those games rather quickly. So I think this is what we're seeing. I don't know if this next ban is a Lancelot, they want the YSS, and that's where they're going to start.
There's also the Arlot ban that Cambodia always takes away if they are on the blue side, and then again, they can keep doing this, leave open the YSS or the Lancelot, because Malaysia's gonna either have to ban one of those, right? Like if they leave that open, since Cambodia is the first pick. And what I notice about Cambodia is it's almost all the time that they're up, like they got all this power, but what do they do with it, right? Like how can they close the game? It's more of Malaysia. It's like, oh, when they get all this momentum, they kind of know how to shift it towards their side, whereas Cambodia is just in shambles on what to do next, right? Like I feel like that should be their focus also, the decision making as well, apart from the draft that they're given here in this game. So the Arlot ban, like what I mentioned, that they also prioritize taking out, since it is an instant setup for the team. So which leaves the Lancelot or the Yi Sun Shin here for Cambodia. Malaysia just has to ban one away, or either they just leave it open, ban maybe a Kalea that really loves picking up. So it's a Zushin ban that comes through here, still on the ban list, banned here in our series. So they started up with Lancelot or the Yi Sun Shin, and knowing she was so comfortable with this the match as well. Up against Malaysia for the first day, she really did wreak havoc from the start. But Malaysia again goes for the same dynamic duo. This is so good. I think this is such a good answer. Every time they get a power pick here, Gatot Kacha, you solve the problem of the sitter accessing your backline, and then you got the range with the Farsa.
Yeah, it just works so well too. Gatot Kacha's like, he's able to go ahead and put enough pressure with an Avatar of the Guardian ultimate, like that jump in, and then the unbreakable taunt is just really good, and it helps deal with even the Lancelot in a sense. But I think for Cambodia, we might see them go for their, I don't know if they want to go for the XP lane option. Yeah, they could go for the roam, pick up Kalea. But in essence, I think it's still the same. Like, you need to be able to go ahead and get those purifies out, and that's the problem a lot of the time. So they're going to give Bao the Granger again. I think this is one of the heroes that she performs the best on. Even from their previous matches. And so that's why I was saying, like, yes, the Kalea is open, but as we saw from the last match, it's kind of unfortunate, because like you know there's going to be like 2 purifies over there, so you need someone to really alleviate that pressure of the Kalea, and it might have just been better, you know, we'll take the Hylos. They have played this Hylos before. It works well over here for Cambodia, especially with this plan. I think they like a little more mobility that they have to complement the Lancelot and the Granger here.
Mm. They also pick up the Yi Sun Shin here. Like what I said, Malaysia was gonna leave both open, right? Like why ban one away when you can either pick the Lancelot or the Yi Sun Shin because Cambodia can only take one. So now heading into the second phase here, XP laner bans are definitely gonna come through. Apart from the CC and the R lot, and based from what we've seen a glue.
Mm.
We've also seen a Phobius. I'm not so sure if that's a problem for the side of Malaysia, but they go ahead and still take away the Kalea, which I think they want to put out some other battle spells since the Lancelot is already here. So maybe some sprints, some flicker outs. I mean, the Purify gives you less mobility if you do have it in your hands. I think for Cambodia, their last two bans should center around Fafao here. Bruno, but she still has the Harriet, so there's still a lot of options left for her to take. So Malaysia centering towards the roam so far.
Okay. I think on this too, you're still gonna see, like, even if you ban out more gold laners, I'm just like, Fao is capable. She showed us that multiple times on playing these different gold laners, and you know, I'm almost wondering if Cambodia should just focus on different bans, even in that XP lane.
Yeah.
Looks like the Phobius will be taken out, so Phobius is banned out. I'm wondering what Malaysia wants to put in the XP lane then.
There's still
Cambodia
Lapu
might-
Lapu.
Yeah,
and the
probably the Lapu Lapu glue. Maybe that's what we're expecting here. Last ban from Cambodia could still be a gold laner unless they really want to take care of an XP lane as well. But also the mid lane option for them.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what do they just go in Eve? Like, is this the time to bring out the
Oh,
Eve
they
for
did
them?
bring out the Eve.
Yeah.
They did bring out the Eve in their game in the first day. So to go head to head with the Farsa also, I think it kind of does a little throwback apart from the Uranus and the Esmeralda. That wasn't the
Yeah.
only throwback. So if you do put out an Eve, that just puts me way back into seasons ago from the professional scene we're in. It's almost all the time the Eve and the Farsa. I know there were some adjustments that were made uh, from the recent buffs of the Eve. So I think it's overall, I would say good. But then again, there's the AOG that you need to consider, plus the possible XP laner setter from the side of Malaysia. So it's gonna be a Bruno. They took away the last two XP laners that were picked up in the last match. So I think I want to see a Lapu Lapu here. It can really
Yeah.
set up the place. Often overlooked by the teams because they'd rather go for the CCs or the Arlots. But the Lapu Lapu is such a great way to disrupt team fights and kind of zone out the main core of the team.
Yeah, I think that's probably the safest. You could go Lapu Lapu here.
Uranus also
Uranus too.
open.
Yeah, but I think the Lapu Lapu would be better for them, especially since they have the Hylos right now. That could help you go ahead and put pressure on even the Farsa. So, and most likely that'll make those openings a little bit easier for the Lancelot to capitalize on. But, yep, there it is. So it's gonna be the Lapu Lapu,
Ooh.
Valentina.
Okay.
Yeah. So to go ahead and take some of those ultimates, most likely will be the Feather Airstrike.
Yeah.
Just to give
Or the
yourself
AOG
that,
even.
Yeah. Maybe the AOG. Again, this is going to be a test, I guess, to see how well the Valentina is played, because that's always been the trend. Is like when these Valentinas are picked, even in the professional leagues, that's always the scrutiny of the Valentina. Like, were they able to utilize the Valentina? Yes, you have a Terrify built into your kit. That's all great and all, but it's really about what ultimates are you taking, and are you able to, use those for the fights that count, really.
Yeah, and sometimes what's really annoying if you do pick up the Valentina, when everybody's grouping up together, you pick up the wrong ultimate. That's something that you wouldn't want to happen here. But I think overall, the lineup so far of Malaysia, there's a lot of good ultimates here. So regardless of that, it's still pretty good to have the Valentina in the team. But then again, the range of the mid lane is definitely much shorter than what the Farsa has. So I feel like for Elan, she really has to pick up that Feather Airstrike, especially before the team fight. So that's such a crucial thing to have when you do have the Valentina. So they lock in the Esmeralda here to go with the Lapu Lapu, which I say is still pretty decent, considering the game that Shah had earlier that really dominated the XP. So this is it. Match point for the side of Malaysia and Cambodia. This is going to be our draft. I think Cambodia has a much better chance also here, but then again, if you're talking about scaling, Malaysia still has this.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the same sense here, just like we saw from Game 1. Cambodia's lineup is good, but can they go ahead and scale into what Malaysia's will be able to do? Because it's more or less the same. You just change a little bit of components here for Malaysia's lineup. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It could be our last game as it's match point right now for Malaysia going against Cambodia here for the Mlbb Women's Iesf Asian Oceania qualifiers that fight for that first place, of course, between the two. So we're hoping for a game 3. You guys can let us know which team you guys think is going to win this one. Will it be a sweep here for Malaysia, or will we get one under for Cambodia?
So, Cambodia, Malaysia. This is pretty similar to what they had day number 1. But again, whoa, what?
Wow.
Sha? She doesn't even have the items just yet. So, I mean, it's from the emblems too. Like, we'll have to see. She's, oh, it's a cooldown item, the support, and the bargain hunter to get the items first. But up against the Lapu Lapu, you're kind of able to contain it in the lane this early on. Is pretty amazing.
Yeah, she can. I think they want to punish Shaw if they can because they know what an Esmeralda can do with a lead. I mean, the Lapu Lapu is in the same sense. Moshi, especially after the way that she played the previous game, she should be pretty confident on the Lapu Lapu. The other thing, once again, is playing in that first objective. I think for a lot of our games that we've been watching over the course of ISF here, is teams like to go for that first blood before the first turtle even. And if they make it happen, then that gives them a better window to go ahead and secure that early power spike. But Mount Chakra's already going to be used. Moshi jumps on out. Good thing the rest of Cambodia was up here, but you can already see what's happening here. Yuki doesn't have the level 4 yet, so she's got no AOG. But the turtle is up. They'll fight for this space. This could be tricky. Rina does get checked with that Thorn Rose. Tagami
half HP.
takes quite a bit of damage too. Turtle on the half
look at the
HP.
zoning.
Shaw's jumping in though. Rina's able to get the turtle. Now the fight breaking out. Bravest fighter already gonna be in. There's the taunt. Yuki falls. But I think Malaysia's okay with that trade.
Yeah, they got the turtle. It was such good zoning there by Sha. She popped the falling star moon on the back lines onto Moshi, so she wasn't able to land her skills. But I would say it's a fair trade for both sides. Turtle for the roamer. I'd still say I wouldn't say somebody's ahead for now. It's just a matter of playing it safe here for both sides. Wait for the junglers to scale up and then maybe go for the full engage. So far, I haven't seen Tagami on like aggressively invading the jungle camps here of Malaysia. She did that in the first day, but yep, speaking of, it might be it. Glorious Pathway's up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looked like she wanted to go ahead and fight there. Again, Tagami looks a lot more confident, I'd say, on the Lancelot, and she can probably go ahead and control the pace of the game once she gets a little bit of farm on here. Moshi's going to be spotted out, jumps in with the bravest fighter, flickers forward, but Hanny had to burn her flicker too. She's going to be fine. Now the mid lane could be a focus here of a fight, but Yuki will be run out of there. So it looks like they're just going to trade some XP over. Now Foul holding down her own. You'll see Rina's up top. Oh, Honey's gone. What? It was under the turret too, and it looks like she's being chased right now too. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to catch Elan. Rina and Sha just a little bit too far off.
Yeah, they didn't want to burn. Well, Flicker's already burned out here for Elan. So I guess it's a matter of just doing the pickoffs here from the start. Like, as long as they can get the kills, they should be able to sustain this early game that they're so comfortable with. Wait for Lancelot to come in. But Rina, wow, a bit deep into enemy jungle here of Cambodia. So she's not going to go for more. I think they're just going to play it safe right now. Second turtle is up. Malaysia got the first one. So let's see if anything will happen here in the mid lane. It's going to be Sha setting up the place here in the AOG.
AOG dropped down. Glorious Pathway on the defense. They're going to run him out of mid. There's just not enough firepower yet from Malaysia. So this should be a turtle. Just going to the hands of Cambodia. They fought for it. They keep Sha at bay with Bao there. So not much you can do. That's now a turtle in the hands of Cambodia. Good little exchange there.
Yeah, but for Fao though, as you can see, she is still up top. They've already switched up the lane, but there's a better strike.
Yui, oh, I thought she was going to be able to escape. Last feathered airstrike gets her. Now Tagami on the hunt. Phantom execution forward. There's the AOG.
Oh.
Yuki trying to get away. Won't be able to escape Tagami as Yuki falls. Now Foul has to get back. She could be in trouble if they decide to go ahead, go forward with this, but it looks like she's got backup too if Rina needed to. So, yeah, Cambodia trying to keep things together, trying to get some kills where they can.
Yep, it's a good thing that the micro play there of Fafao. She evaded almost all the skills there of Tegami up top, or that would have been another kill. But Cambodia right now exerting a little bit more pressure. You can see it from Elan. You can see it from Tegami as well. They're doing the pokes, and then Tegami goes in for the final kill. But there goes the punish.
That's so fast. Elaine just getting caught in the feather airstrike. And this is what I was talking about with timing here in the power spike for Malaysia's lineup. It'll start to show, especially in that first Lord. Foul too, you can see, you know, she's trying to grab as much XP and gold as she can. She's going to rotate up top. Now, the biggest thing for this, too, is neither team has taken down a turret yet. So that's going to be crucial to see which team starts to open up the map for themselves a little bit here. We're 30 seconds away from that turtle to come up. So, really, I mean, even the pickoff potential isn't that great by either
AOGs
team.
too here of
So it's
Yuki
more so
have
of these
either
little
been,
skirmishes that are
punished
catching
here
each other
by
out in
Cambodia.
these,
I get that she's trying to
in the river.
set things up for the team, but unfortunately it backfired. So what they're trying to do right now is just keep Fafao alive, keep her contained in her lane, get her to farm up, while the rest of the members, of Malaysia getting a turret down bot. But I'm not so sure, will they go for the full engage onto Rina? She's gonna be able to back away. Turtle is up. This is the last turtle of the game.
All right, Turtle facing off for it. Look at Foul though. She's still going to be up there. Picks up a Malefic gun. That's going to help her with the power spike here on the Bruno. The fight for this Turtle though, they might just give it over. Rina will join the fight. There's a flicker forward. Moshi just going to zone her out, but the Turtle went for a reset. So now Moshi's going to be caught here. She has to back away. Foul pushing the whole time. Will be able to get the turret. Now Shot gets the flicker out from a land. She's going to run her down, chase her down on the Esmeralda. She'll pick up a kill. There's the Worldie, and enough damage too. Moshi trying to run, but already using up the bravest fighter earlier on. She falls at the mid turret. And now Malaysia with clear advantage will take down the tier 1 while Rina works on that last turtle. They don't have any minions. They got to wait a little bit longer here, but Malaysia gets the advantage.
Wow, so Fafao was able to push the turret up top, joins in the team fights, and gets some kills here for the side of Malaysia. And to top it all off, they got that last turtle of the game. And like what I said, there's a non-switch here for the side of Malaysia. They definitely know when to go for the engage and when to disengage. And so far, they have been playing it real safe, but at the same time also calculated when they're going to go for all of these team fights. So far, Fafao hasn't suffered any casualties just yet up against the side of Cambodia, and she has been farming up really well here. As you can see, it forces Tegami or either Baobei to kind of pay attention to what Fafao is doing on the sides.
That's why I was saying Fafao has been impressive throughout the run here in the past few days, but you know, it's the spacing that she's able to work with on her own, but then the spacing that the team provides her. You can see she's pretty confident too after she got that Malefic gun, but she's here with Yuki. They're going to be kind of shoot out this side of the jungle. Again, they've been putting pressure on this side of the lane, this side of the map for a while now, and they're going to go and replicate it down bot.
Down bot though.
It looks like Bao on the run. Mount Shock is going to be used. Yui trying to buy time, but will fall to save Bao. Bao had to burn that flicker too, and now here was the response. Moshi, Tagami, and the Elaine joining the fight. Sha might be the sacrifice, but she's going to bomb and weave through it. There's the AOG from Yuki. Now they might try to cut them off here. Tagami could be in trouble. Couple shots from Rina. She's going to try to get away. Thorn Rose, but Rina will get it anyway, and now they collapse down. Moshi follows. That's 3 pickups for Malaysia, and it's all 14 seconds before the Lord's up.
Oh my. This is exactly what they were doing in game number 1. Just buy some. Oh
No.
By Rina. That just goes to tell you that's enough damage coming out from the Yisun Shin. They took down 4 members, and yep, straight to the Lord. Malaysia goes. It is the on switch for them right now. Full throttle for their side. I'm looking at this like it's Papa again.
doing Fafao things, clearing out the enough waves, farming up so well, and then just joins the team fight later on and is able to at least get an almost wipeout
Oh,
up against Cambodia is just insane. Look at how much Cambodia is bleeding right now, even with just one basic attack coming out from Fafao.
yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about the Bruno. You know, you just need a little bit of items, maybe 2, 3. You really start to hurt even the tankier members of this opposing lineup. Right now, working with this, the Glorious Pathway going to be dropped down. There's the AOG. They might be able to catch her. Hattie does go down. Tagami with a catch. Now, they still can't catch Foul, but Yuki's going to be the next. Goes down, jump in, over the wall, flickers forth from Moshi, and now she's in trouble, takes a couple of shots. They're going to try to hold it in the mid, but they jump in with a falling Star Moon, and Rina will clean up another kill. Yui falls, Tagami on the run. They already lost Bao. This could be the end, though, for Cambodia. They can't get there in time. Lord is still up. Malaysia looking to possibly sweep it here. They'll pick up another kill. They're going to lock down on the base. They see the win in sight, and they'll take it. Malaysia sweeps Cambodia.
Just when I thought that Cambodia might have gotten it in with that last clapback against Malaysia, they just came in, run through the members there of Cambodia. And I think this is where the Valentina, you can kind of see that, yes, it does have the utility, but then when it comes to defending that base, if it was a farce, I feel like it could have had a much better chance, but without that much wave clear in the last team fight with the Lord, that was pretty much sealing the fate there of Cambodia. They did have a great start though, but for the side of Malaysia, again, they really know their strengths. They really know when to come through the game. And again, Fafao on the... I really love to emphasize how Fafao is, because most of the time you see Cambodia actually reacting to like the 4-man rotation here from Malaysia, just completely ignoring Fafao, right? And by the time like she already reached that much damage, that's the time when, oh no, what do we do next? Plus, they're also running with a Yisun Shin, so that's double the damage coming out from the side of Malaysia that they don't know what to do next. Plus, they also got the peel from the Farsa. I think that's the most significant difference that the Farsa has as compared to the Valentina.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, you know, I was kind of worried about the lineup that Cambodia had again, just because it was one of those things where, you know, you have this Lancelot that can do quite a bit of damage. Moshi, I feel like, too. She, you know, a good pick on the Lapu Lapu, but still, it was, even the Valentina, I mean, there wasn't, it just fell flat. It happens a lot with Valentinas. It's not anything that Elaine did. It was more so, again, this lineup and the power spike that Malaysia had in the mid game. It was the same thing in the first game, and this lineup that they have allows them to do that, where you're playing around the YSS and the Farsa like we saw previously, and then eventually Fao will be online. That, I mean, the fact that before she even got the Malefic Gun, she just had the Haas Claws and the Berserker's Fury. She was already doing like good damage. Then she gets the Malefic Gun to get that extra space to work with. And, you know, you can even see Shaw's build. Like, Shaw doesn't have anything fancy. She's got mostly just to deal with all the physical damage that is coming from this lineup from Cambodia. The Valentina was not enough reliable, like, magic damage to really worry about anything. And that's why Malaysia didn't really have to do much except, okay, well, build defensively for physical, and then we'll just deal with Valentina. And that's what they did, because... just that was the weak point of Cambodia's lineup here, and it wasn't as scaling, I would say, as Malaysia's, just like it was in game 1.
Yeah, it was all about, I think, for early game, definitely good, right? Like, but then again, the late game, the Granger kind of will fall short to a Bruno and a Yisun Shin, so double glass cannon type of hero for the side of Malaysia. It's a back-to-back win for the Yisun Shin here of Malaysia. Still opened up Iesf with this same matchup, started with a 2-0 for Malaysia and still ended the same way, but it's a GG. Nice try to Cambodia. I mean, it was, I wouldn't say it was an easy fight. Like, they were able to kind of keep up the momentum from the start. It's just, they just fell short in closing the game when they had that power spike. So, I mean, it's still a feat for them though. They did defeat one of the powerhouses here in MLBB. But it's so good to see some diversity here coming into the World IESF and Asia and Oceania qualifiers. Before we head out, any final thoughts, Naisu, before we cap off the day?
It's been a good run. Asian Oceania qualifiers for the men's and women's here, and congratulations to all the teams that got to compete. And it was definitely, there were some surprises there, and there weren't some surprises out there. Again, some strong teams, but also, again, congratulations to our winners and better luck to all our competing countries and teams next time.
Yep, I'm definitely looking forward to the next few years. Of course, heading into the world of MLBB, there's so much improvement, and it's just I would say heartwarming to see this, because I started out from casting, women's MLBB. Even these regions that I've seen, they just grown so much over the time, and it's just always amazing to see these stories unfold and be able to cast them. On behalf of Yashura, all of the casters that casted in the previous day, Kim, Naisu, Yashura behind the cam, and all of the production team who made IESF possible. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Hope to see you guys in the next one. But for now, we're going to bid you guys goodbye. This has been the World Esports IESF Asia and Oceania Qualifiers. See you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you guys are from. Bye-bye.